Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Happy Thursday. Oh my gosh. There's some things happening in the world today. Horrible things. And one of those things is Hasan. Hasan is always doing horrible things. Oh my, people have talked about for a long time whether Hasan should be deported, whether he should lose his American citizenship. And I think we have now the new Exhibit A for Hasan losing his citizenship. Have you seen any of these clips, Adam?
I have not. I've seen zero.
No, they're
I
gonna
didn't.
be in a
I didn't even
treat.
know Hassan was in China. So
Oh my God, you're gonna be in a treat. And when I say treat, I mean you're gonna be like
hmm
disgusted and enraged. Okay.
right,
Hassan went to China, or still is in China, I believe, and he's doing the most transparent, disgusting anti-American, pro-Chinese propaganda. That's just, it's getting to the point where you're like, okay, just live there. If you love China so much and you hate America so much, just live there. Get out of our country.
right. Yeah. Okay.
So this first clip is Hassan. He's at Tiananmen Square, which some people know for reasons,
hmm
and they have some sort of flag raising ceremony that they're doing. And here's Hassan's reaction. Okay, to this.
Hassan couldn't go out and talk about Tiananmen Square and talk about what we know about Tiananmen Square, right? Because that's been retconned from Chinese history.
Yes, it would be illegal. Hassan would get arrested if he was at Tiananmen Square and filmed it and talked about the protests and the people that died there. He would be arrested.
Right. Yeah.
And it's so insane to me. Like, there's no place in America you could go to any place. You could go to the college where college students were shot. You could go to Ruby Ridge. You could go to any place. I mean, obviously, like a public place, but you can go to any place and film it and talk about, the government screwing up there or the government killing people there. No one's going to arrest you. You're totally fine. But Hassan can't do the same thing in China, and yet he's going to suck it off and talk about how amazing they are and how much America sucks.
I
Constantly
don't
through
even
all we
think
have a
you
bunch of
can.
clips.
I don't even think you can use the photo of the Tiananmen Square man, the guy who's tank man, the guy who stood in front of the tanks and the
No.
tanks tried to go around him. I think
You
that picture is illegal.
you can't even have a picture of Woody the Pooh, let alone Tank
That's
Man.
true. That's true.
What's happening?
It cuts a little too close to the bone, right?
Yes, yes.
That's hilarious. President Xi supposedly looks like Winnie the Pooh, so that's why people are not allowed to,
Right, right.
yeah, make fun of him with Winnie the Pooh. So
Hmm.
Winnie the Pooh completely banned.
Okay,
So
so
we're
yeah,
gonna do like a 3, 2, 1 here.
yeah, and you're at the 17-second mark, and then do a 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I have not seen this clip, so let's check it out. Three, two,
Okay.
one, go.
What makes it interesting for me at least is like seeing so many people from all around the country literally travel here just to see this.
That part is insane. Look how
like,
many.
like I just don't like I'm not I don't have any sort of patriotism in my heart
For
for America, but just in general. I'm not like a very I care about people.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like it's hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
But I do understand it in some ways, and I kind of wanted to talk to some of the people here because like all of the old people that you see around, right? You have to remember every single person that you see around us. That's like, especially if they've been alive since like the 70s or the 60s. They have seen a radical transformation in their lifetimes, unlike any other country, right? So for them, I think there's a lot of pride in that.
Okay.
Okay.
So Hassan has no patriotism in his heart for America. Zero.
Yes. Yeah.
And then almost even worse, not only does he have no patriotism in his heart for America, he says he has no patriotism in his heart for any country and doesn't even understand the concept of patriotism.
Yeah.
Like how detached from reality. What a weirdo you have to be to not even feel a single shred, a single drop of patriotism, or even like on a conceptual level to know why people care about it.
This is globalism. This is why people talk about globalism being bad. Hassan is a citizen of the world, Sitch.
Mm.
He doesn't have patriotism for his own country. He's a elite who travels around the world. He's That's a very special person. Okay, obviously.
Well, he did have to get special permission from the Chinese government to even be there and film this, which there's a clip of him talking about it, which is interesting. And speaking of being an elite, that jacket he's wearing,
Mm-hmm.
okay, someone pointed out
Uh-oh.
this jacket. This is a special Adidas jacket that cost over $100. That is a special jacket celebrating the Chinese New Year's. So Hassan's like, okay, I'm flying to China. I need to buy and order my special brand name Chinese New Year celebration Adidas jacket to wear. Nothing, nothing says communism like wearing $100 Adidas jacket.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
stupid.
Man of the people, right?
Yes. And it really shows, this clip really shows to me how incredibly sheltered he is as a person. Because he's like looking around and he's like, I don't understand. There's just so many people here at this ceremony, this national ceremony. And it's like, Hassan, have you never gone to like the Lincoln Memorial or the Washington Monument or gone to any place in Washington, D.C. or gone to Mount Rushmore or gone to like D.C. during the 4th of July, the Statue of Liberty? Have you never gone to a single place in America where there's some sort of national landmark? There's always tons of people
Yes.
there.
Hundreds of
Thousands,
people.
millions of
Yeah,
people go to these
thousands.
places. Yes. And it's like, he's probably never been to a single national monument in America. So he goes to this flag ceremony in China. He's like, oh, there's just so many people here. This is crazy to me. Oh my, you wouldn't see anything like this in America.
Yeah, of course you wouldn't, right?
It's
He
so
wouldn't,
insane.
because he would never go there.
Yes. It's so insane.
Is patriotism something that the working class understand? Seems
Of
like they do.
course.
How can Hassan say he's with for the working class and be like, oh, patriotism bullshit?
I know. I know. Okay, this next clip, which we can just kind of zip through because it's just most of you can't see anything. It's kind of interesting. So
Chinese security police harass Hassan Piker.
yes. So even though he has permission, while he's filming there, okay, and he's like holding up his phone, someone sees one of the police officers, because all these police officers, and they're keeping their fucking eyes on Hassan because he's a dirty, dirty foreigner. They see something on his phone. Okay. So while he's filming, the police come over and they demand to look at all of their phones. And they have to stand there while the police go through all their phones to make sure that they don't have any infringing memes or pictures or something on them.
Wow. Would you get that? Could a cop do that in the US? Take your
No,
phone and just rifle through it?
no. How many times have there been like police doing something and everyone's like shoving their cameras in the cops' faces and everything?
Yeah, filming.
Yes. You can't do that in China. It's
Yeah.
just like insane.
Wow. They,
Okay.
I'm sure they have all kinds of spyware all over that phone now. Most of the time, people who travel to China take a burner phone because, like, all the Wi-Fi networks basically attack your cellular service in China.
Mhm. That's a good point. But, there's no way he did that. Just got it. It's all everyone.
He's got his cell phone there.
Yes.
What a dumbass. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
You seen this?
Oh, yeah.
Look. Yeah. 这是什么呀？他录的视频。
Oh, so Hassan looks very uncomfortable.
Yeah, right now he's talking to this translator because the police are like, we need to look through your stuff.
Yeah. Now we're just looking at a black screen.
Right. And if you jump ahead to 1:30, you can see on the stream they have like a little waiting graphic that says we're doing secret memes. Be right back. It's like no, the police are interrogating you and looking through your phone to make sure you don't have any offending memes.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So if we move on now to the next clip here.
We're doing secret memes. Be right back. Okay.
Yes.
That's an interesting
Yes.
way to put it.
Yes.
So now we're at more footage showing Chinese secret police hovering around Hassan.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Here we go. 31 seconds. Three, two,
Yep.
one, go.
According to Sally, we didn't come that early.
Dude, what's up with fire extinguishers?
What do you mean?
I've never. No, hold on. No. Every cop has a fire extinguisher on their belt. Is that normal?
You never know.
And not only that, but if you looked at our hotel, and
I mean,
you
in a
looked at-
pinch, you could use it like mace.
I thought it was mace.
No, it's fire extinguishers.
Like on their
every
person.
in the hotel, I've never seen this many fire extinguishers ever in my life. In our hotel, there's like a fire.
According to Sally,
That's
So-
so obvious. They
Yeah.
have no electrical code in China. Why do you think they have fire extinguishers everywhere? Because they have a lot of fucking house fires.
Right. Well, there's two reasons. Yes, it's true because a lot of police are the first to respond to scenes in China for fire situations, which
Yes,
in
yeah.
America we don't.
And when you
have
go
the fire
100 years
department,
with absolutely no electrical code, guess what
Right.
happens?
Right. But there's another reason, especially at this event, is that supposedly there's a lot of people who do self-immolation protests.
Oh my God. So they light themselves on fire. Holy
Yes. So the policemen literally have to carry around fire extinguishers to prevent
to
people
put
from,
out the protesters.
Yes. Yeah, Hasan's just like, oh, what's going on here? This is so crazy. It's the land of the free, all right? This is so great.
What a dipshit. What a
Mhm.
complete dipshit.
Look.
All his fans love this. You know what? I hope half of Hasan's fans move to China. I hope they do.
That would be amazing.
Good
Oh my
riddance.
God.
You're
Oh my
look,
God.
Hasan's helping deport all the low IQ dumbasses from America, and we should thank him for that. He's doing America a service here.
Mhm.
You always see these videos on. There's so many videos on YouTube of someone who was like, "I was scared Trump was gonna make America terrible, so I moved to Africa, and it fucking sucks here. My God, it's the worst decision I ever made."
There's a lot of women who they'll watch one of these like Lifetime movies where it's like the women go on some trip across the world and they find themselves.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and then they go on these trips and they're like, oh my God, all these other countries suck.
I was raped the first night I was in my hotel.
Oh, that's really, I was gonna say that for sure.
Everyone,
course.
look, we always say stuff on stream and our streams always get monetized.
I know, no.
we
one
don't say
cares.
it. We don't say unalive or
No,
any of that, or grape or what
nothing.
are
Yep.
some of the ridiculous ones? People have all of these ridiculous things that they say, and I'm like, why the fuck are they? Why do people do that?
They used to back in the day. I think now YouTube's kind of fixed a lot of its automatic moderation. Not
Right.
fully, but some of it. So
Yeah. Well, we've
Okay.
never, we've never held back.
yes. Okay.
They
so
say,
this,
they say pedophile. That's what
that's
they
right.
say.
PDF. I feel like a PDF.
They can't say pedophile.
Yes.
What so which there's two videos here. Which one
We
are
can watch
gonna
both of them. So this is interesting. This is
Honestly,
Hasan
this-
reacting to American cops that are nice to him, and then Hasan reacting to the Chinese cops that are not nice to him. Okay.
Oh, really? Someone
Yes.
spliced it together? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, I
Watch
was
the
gonna
first
say
video, yeah.
Hasan is a big defund the police guy. So
Right.
14 seconds. 3, 2,
Yep.
1, go.
Honestly, oh, this place is good. So,
Honestly, I think.
Look, a shout out. How you doing?
hey, what's going on, man?
Peace. Happy New Year.
You too. A cap. Honestly,
Okay. This guy's the biggest piece of shit in the world. I can't believe you would do that. Not only that, it's a black cop. So
I know.
black cop
Yeah.
comes by, gives him a friendly hey, shout out.
Probably knows who he is, which is why he did it.
Yeah. And then he says all cops are bastards. He's basically all cops are bastards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Fuck you. Go home to your
Go
Yeah.
on to China.
What a fucking dick. I
Mhm.
can't stand Hasan.
Oh, it gets worse. Don't worry.
Where was this? Is this in Los Angeles?
I'm not sure where that was.
Look, if I hope he gets a parking ticket a
White.
day. I mean, that's how you solve that problem right there. You're like, oh, Hasan, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Did we forget to give you your parking ticket today? Here you go.
I was watching the stream. Yeah, exactly.
What a fuck. What a fucker. Okay,
So
58 seconds. What's
yeah.
this one all about?
So this is him making excuses for the Chinese cops and government compared to, calling the
Oh,
American
it's
cops.
a cab in America.
Right.
But in China, where they can rifle through your phone at will,
Yes.
right? Take you down to the station and question you without any charges at all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're just sweet, innocent baby angels.
Yeah, of course. They got to watch out for those white Americans. All right.
Okay.
Now,
Uh,
before you click it, there's his shirt. If you can see it, it
says
says,
capitalism. Yeah.
yeah, it says capitalism is voluntary, and it looks like the Marlboro cigarettes logo.
Right.
And then underneath it, it says "Get bread, get dead." So the guy who's wearing the shirt that says capitalism is evil, it's like smoking. It says it's voluntary. This is the
Mhm.
guy who lives in the mansion, drives a sports car, was wearing the Adidas jacket, is now wearing this shirt. Like he wears all the brand merchandise constantly and everything. But no, capitalism is voluntary. You
Has
can just,
luxury, high status beliefs.
right.
Like
And look at
capitalism
wherever,
is bad.
does it look like he's staying? And look at where he's staying. It looks like some nice hotel.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Look at this.
Think he's going to stay in some rat infested
No,
hotel? Of course not.
no.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, 58 seconds.
Yep.
Go.
We're white. So as foreigners in China at this like national event rather than an international one, where as you guys notice, like they didn't have any like foreigners there at all. He thought he saw something on the phone. He thought he saw something on the phone. Like he thought we were like making a mockery. You know what I mean? They didn't realize that we were swagged out white boys who love China.
Oh. Yeah.
Are you being careful with your words? No. I'm just telling you like it is. Like
there a
they thought we
policeman
were
in the room?
they were being extra attentive to make sure that no one is making fun of Mao or anything like that or the ceremony, and that's what they were that's what it was. We're white. So,
What a complete and total piece of shit.
Oh my, what a
he-
cuck.
He hates America.
Yes.
And he comes out and says it every single day.
Yep.
People bitch and moan about it, but they don't come
Right.
out and stop him. In
Right.
China, they have police that are going to come around and make sure
Right.
that you don't make fun of any of the leaders or the government in any way, shape, or form.
No. Yeah.
And that's supposed to be good. Imagine if Donald Trump said, let's have a bunch of police go around and make sure nobody's making fun of Donald Trump. You think
Yeah.
Hasan would be all into that?
That'd be an interesting question because they talk about like, is Trump a fascist, right?
Yes.
Be interesting
Imagine
to
if it
ask-
was illegal to say that.
right. Yeah, you talk to Hasan about that. You go, oh, is Trump a fascist? He's gonna say yes, and then you say like, could you imagine if you're at the military parade that happened, or you're at some Washington event, and the police are coming around and they see you have like the Trump baby meme on your phone,
Mhm.
and they like arrest you. And Hasan be like, oh, that's crazy. It's like, yeah, it's so crazy. Like when you were in China, they were gonna arrest you because they thought you had some kind of Mao meme on your phone. Is that crazy? Is that crazy, Hasan? Right? Is that kind of fascisty?
It's crazy because he thinks he's like, oh, we're good. We don't want to make fun of China. I'm sure there's some people in China that probably want to make fun of China, right?
Mhm.
Those
Yeah.
people can't either, you dumbass. You fucking dumbass.
This is why this clip is very important. This is why you can literally never fucking trust extremists. Okay, especially like far right communist or far left communist or the far right Groyper people. You can never trust extremists. They will lie to your face. They do not for a single second believe in free speech. They do not believe in free speech at all on any capacity. They will cry and moan and whine and bitch if they feel that they're being censored in any way. If they're not being censored in any way, they'll just cry anyway. But they don't actually care about the principle. And this is a perfect clip of it. He's not complaining about this being a free speech violation. He's not going to complain about it when he gets back whatsoever because he doesn't care. To him, it's totally fine for a communist government to infringe on its people's freedom of speech and anyone's freedom of speech just to protect communism. That's totally fine in his mind.
Yeah. So crazy. Such bullshit.
Now, I don't know if you can see on your screen. If you scroll down, it's like the second reply, and it's like this 15
Oh, I
second
can't.
video.
Well,
Do you see
maybe.
this?
No, I can't. I
Here,
can't see it. No.
here. If I send to you, maybe I'll just send to you and bring
Sure,
it
you
up.
can send it to me.
Yeah,
What's it say?
it's Hasan talking about how remember when he was detained at the airport
Oh, yeah.
by
Him
by
bitching and moaning
customs?
about
Yeah,
how that infringed on his rights.
right, right. Yeah, I sent it to you. You could see the difference here. Okay, when the U.S. Customs stops him, when he's coming into the country versus literally a police officer just sees an image of Mao on his phone and is like, "Oh, is that an American making fun of our
And I don't know.
president or of our prime minister, president, authoritarian leader forever?" Got to go through his phones, got to make sure he's not doing anything wrong.
All right, 15 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go.
And I don't know if that's the reason why I didn't have them look through my phone, but I wasn't planning on letting them look through my phone anyway. That was my point. Like there was a line where I was going to say, I'm done. I'm done with this. Either fucking arrest me or, let me go. I don't know what the fuck's happening. And I don't know if that's
Oh my God. Oh, what a fucking hypocrite. He's like,
It's
yeah,
oh my
look,
God.
I don't let him go through my phone because that's a right I have in the United States. I
I
let him
know.
go through my phone in China because I don't want to get thrown in jail.
I know.
How can he not see? How
So
can he not
stupid.
see that America is 1,000 times better than China? Imagine if you were trying to have some sort of political change. I mean, how difficult will that be in China with all of these rules?
It's so stupid too, because it would be the simplest thing in the world for someone who is a socialist to be a socialist and say, but China sucks and is not really socialism and blah 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 blah. But Hassan, like, he hates America so much. It's so stamped into his essence, his core, that he's like, well, if America hates China, then I must love China. But
And
that's
China
just the
must be
framework.
good.
Yeah, it's so retarded.
Yeah, this is scary levels of cognitive dissonance here.
Yes. Okay, here's the next one. It's at 1 minute, 10 seconds. This is him talking about how, of course, obviously, he has to get permission from the government and set things up in advance. Like, he just can't show up and film things like you can in America if you're streaming.
Hassan Piker reveals that his team is now working with Chinese Communist Party. Is that where we are?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
need to understand something, okay? China is very big, and so is its government, okay? And from what I understand, and I'm not entirely certain of this, but like a lot of the stuff that we're doing, we're getting checks. Like we're not, like we're getting pre-clearance. We're not just fucking rolling up, chatters, okay? Like we're not just going, what's up, everybody? Like, like the thing that we did in Tiananmen Square, that is actually, at least like being able to live stream that was a very unique experience. Okay, checks they're paying you. No, dumbass, checks as in like pre-clearance. We're checking everything and getting assurances beforehand. Okay, we have an entire team on the ground. Nowadays, whatever I do on the stream, it's like I could have the best time ever, but let's say I stub my toe while I was walking by something, they'll clip me stubbing my toe and be like, Hasan almost dies. Hasan almost gets killed by the Chinese government or whatever the fuck. And then like they'll blow that shit up. It's crazy.
You know what they call this? They have a word for it in China. It's called the white monkey.
Yes.
Hasan is now a white monkey.
Dance, monkey, dance.
He's there. He's basically there to sell Americans on the CCP.
Mm-hmm.
What a hilarious propagandist.
Yeah.
I
just
wonder if
looked it
they
up.
know that all the cops are calling him the white monkey.
Right.
Watch the white monkey walk around Tiananmen Square. Keep an eye on the white monkey over there. That white monkey, keep an eye on him.
Well, look,
He's
he's getting identified as white. All right, he's happy. Clearly being labeled as white. It's
God, you're being used. You're being completely used by a foreign government. And he's like, here, let me get the lube out for you, China.
Hassan loves to slob so much on China. He doesn't need lube. All right. He takes it dry.
Oh my
He's like, you don't even need to spit in your hand. All right. Just,
Give it to me raw. Raw
yeah,
dog me, China.
exactly. Exactly. Oh, God. And even his example is so retarded. He's like, oh, if I tripped on a rock, people would attack, like, be like, oh, it must have been terrible. There's a difference between you're doing something and like you randomly hurt yourself or some random event happens versus no, the government enacts an ideological policy against you in a very specific way that shows that you don't have the fundamental freedom that you have in America. And you're too much of a coward cock to call that out. You're such a disgusting person that you will defend that action in a foreign country under
Right.
authoritarian government.
Yeah, totally.
And that shirt he's wearing, by the way, I just because it was weird because it says the same thing as his other shirt. So I was
Capitalism is
curious.
voluntary.
Right. So apparently this is like an entire
This is his
product
brand.
line.
Yeah.
Yes, he has a product line.
Yes, I
Hassan,
know.
the not capitalist, has a bunch of brand t-shirts that only cost $35 per shirt. Now it
Mhm.
probably costs more because it's a sweater, but costs $35 a shirt. Which that doesn't include shipping, okay? To definitely not participate in capitalism and send him a bunch of money to buy some dumb fucking shirt
Yeah.
that says capitalism bad. If you spend money to buy a shirt that says capitalism bad, you're probably a retard.
It's luxury beliefs. It's them virtue signaling that they have these beliefs, this ideology. But it's just it's it's in name only. It's not
Right.
real. It's not legitimately their ideology at all.
Right. Nomad for $20 says, so what you're saying, Hassan, is the Chinese police singled you out because of your race and treated you different because you're not Chinese and forcefully went through your phone because of an offensive meme. Yeah. See, isn't that interesting? If like Hassan has cried so much about police stereotyping people and going after people because of their race and Islamophobia and all other stuff. But the Chinese police do that to him. And he's like, oh, well, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Okay. That the police in China judged me on the basis of my race and attacked me. That makes perfect sense.
Someone might have been there making a mockery of it.
Right.
And the police needed to shake down those people, needed to whisk them away in the dark of night.
Yeah. Hassan's like, it's totally fine to be racially profiled by the police as long as those police are not American police. If they're Chinese police, racially profiling is based.
Yeah.
And if you're white.
Very sick.
Oh my God. It's so fucking dumb.
Hassan responds to the noise surrounding his brief stop with Chinese police in Tiananmen Square. Is that what we got next?
That's the one we just watched.
Oh, it is?
Isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay.
This one is 2 minutes.
Gotcha.
Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
The reality of the matter is, okay, like briefly being questioned by a cop outside of Tiananmen Square is, you know, it's a unique moment of stress. It happens, right? But like, what is so insane to me is that like I'm a person who has had altercations with American police. I'm a person who's had altercations with police in European capitals. You know, I've interacted with cops all around the world. I've gone to protests. I've been tear gassed. I've been pepper sprayed. I've been
bullshit.
You know, I've been stun grenaded. Like a stun grenade exploded in my head.
In his head.
Like near my head, me and March's head, when we were in Los Angeles, in my own fucking backyard. And it's so crazy that brief interaction of you know, a bunch of like one, not even a bunch of, like one young Chinese cop slash soldier. I don't know if he was a cop or if he was a soldier or not.
Authoritarian.
Like, showing up to be like, what the fuck's on your phone? And like having like a 1 minute altercation has been blown up into this much more significant thing. Like I've been detained by my own country, man. Like I've been detained by my own country. My own country's
You didn't let
Customs
him
and
go
Border
through your
Protection
phone.
and Customs and Border Patrol. And we're talking about like a cop coming up and being a little aggro. First and foremost, here's the
A
thing.
little tiny bit.
Okay. First things first. What does he say? Hasan Piker declares, I don't have any patriotism for America while streaming from Tiananmen Square. No, I said I don't have any patriotism in general, which is why I don't like I find it fascinating that the Chinese people do. That was my point.
So Hasan is saying, look, I've had all of these sexual experiences, and you're a cuck one time.
I know. They call you your cuck one time, they call you a cuck for life. What's up with that, guy?
Exactly.
I don't understand. There was just once
Exactly.
in China. Okay, just because I allowed the Chinese, I allowed Mao to come into my room and fuck my girlfriend in front of me.
I know.
Okay.
What of it? Jesus,
Like-
everyone's blowing this out of
I
proportion,
know.
okay?
It's China. Okay, you know, and they say like in Rome, do what the Romans do. In China, you gotta do what the Chinese do, right? I'm white. What are you gonna
course.
do?
What are you gonna do? Give up of course you're gonna give up your girlfriend.
Yes. And then like we saw all these clips he's telling, like he's so hyperbolizing. This is insane. The clip of him being stun grenaded was like he was at one of the protests, and I don't know, like 100 yards away from him, like a flashbang went off. He wasn't even near it, and then he immediately
It went
like
off
booked
in
it.
his head though.
Right? No, yeah.
He
Remember we
saw it,
watched
so he thought the explosion was actually in his head.
it was in his head. Okay, 100 yards away, a flashbang went off that he wasn't even looking at. He was like facing the direction. He was like, ah, and it was in the middle of the day. And he's like, oh, it's a stun grenade. Oh God, get out! And he immediately just books it too. Immediately books it. Doesn't go like Hasan doesn't even go the front of the protest to even try to film himself getting injured or something for clout because he's too much of a pussy. Just nothing.
Right.
Oh my God. I was stun grenade. And the pepper spray thing, that's not true either. He was at some protests, and like, you know, sometimes these protests, the whole air will get like kind of saturated with like a lot of spray and stuff. And you go, oh, like just being like kind of near the air is like kind of makes you tear up. Like that's what happened. It's not like
Right.
he's making it sound like he was standing there and the cop came by and just like sprayed him in the face with a big thing. It's like,
Yeah,
it
no,
didn't happen.
I didn't believe any of that
Yeah,
shit. I
no.
thought it was all bullshit.
No.
The nicest thing about Hasan going to China is that his dog isn't going to get shocked the whole time he's gone.
That's right. His dog is free. His dog is free while he's in
Exactly.
China. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. The dog's probably praying that he gets incarcerated.
And remember
you know
how
this motherfucker would reach out to the American embassy as fast as possible too. I'm an
course.
American. Let me out of here. What are you
Save me.
doing?
Donald Trump saved me. That'd be so weird,
Of
right?
course,
If
yeah.
Donald Trump had to intercede to save Hasan. Would he? That's an interesting
I don't think
question.
he would. I think he'd be like, "Oh, we'll get to that when we get to it."
Yeah, it
Can
could
you
go either
imagine?
way. It could go because on one hand it's like, yeah, just let him rot, or the other hand it's kind of like now you have to forever say Donald Trump saved you.
Oh wow!
It's like it was pretty bad.
Oh wow!
And it's funny because he's like, oh, this guy that came up to them, he didn't know if he was a police officer or a soldier. Okay. And remember how everyone was losing their mind saying, oh, it's so authoritarian. It's literally fascism to have the National Guard act as police in these
Mhm.
high crime areas.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And here he's just like, oh, it's just like maybe it was a soldier. It was totally whatever. It was fine. It
Well,
was
they have a
totally
bunch
fine.
of secret police. Usually, when they send one of these white monkeys into an area, they got to make sure it's all pristine, right? So
Yes.
the secret police, all the people there know there's secret police everywhere, so they don't get out of line.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that's the situation. That's why they
Yes.
want to know that you're going in there and filming. They're like,
Yes.
okay, well, we got to make sure we control the people, because if the people know that they can hold up a sign that says, I'm being held hostage,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to go out to some live stream in America, they want to stop that before it happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but these guys seem like dipshits. They probably are not aware of the secret police. I've watched this stuff on other channels where they go out and they're like, look, there's a secret police. There's a secret police. There's a
Mhm.
secret police.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he doesn't want you to know that.
No, not at all.
Hasan
Okay.
doesn't want you to know that because he's obviously sucking off the CCP. So
Right.
2 minutes and 19 seconds, is that where we're at? Hasan
Yep.
explains what happened.
Yep.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Whenever the police showed up, they thought, so that thing that we went to, okay, the flag raising ceremony is not, it's not in focus. Hold on, I'm gonna fix it. the flag raising ceremony that we went to is not a thing that white people normally go to, right? It's not.
This is obviously sped up.
It's not normally. It's not normally something that like white people attend, right? And I assume that they are probably extra attentive and extra careful about people coming to do some fuck shit. Like, there's a reason why, for example, there were Chinese nationals on each other's backs, right? But I knew that like if we did it, we would get called out by cops. Because like by and large, especially like the government is aware of like how they are perceived or how much like anti-Chinese propaganda exists out there. And I think the older people are also aware of it as well. But I think the younger populations in China are ironically enough less aware. Like the younger normies are less aware of the animosity that exists, which shouldn't exist at all, obviously, but unfortunately does. And it's almost entirely one-sided. It's entirely designed by America. But yeah, we're white. So as foreigners in China at this like national event rather than an international one, where as you guys noticed, like they didn't have any like foreigners there at all. He thought he saw something on the phone. Like he thought we were like making a mockery. You know what I mean? They didn't realize that we were swagged out white boys who love China. Are you being careful with your words? No, I'm just telling you like it is. Like they thought they were being extra attentive to make sure that no one is making fun of Mao or anything like that or the ceremony, and that's what they were that's what it was. It's normal for police to take close look at foreigners to make sure that white people don't do stupid shit. Yeah, it's just it's a cultural difference, and also they just don't want anyone to pull a fucking Logan Paul or anything like that. How was it resolved? What do you mean? We just like talk to them. We just were like, no, that's not, we're not doing that at all. We're just here to experience the event. I told you would end up in jail. You got lucky this time. Yeah, okay, calm down. That's not. You're being ridiculous. This is actually one of the things that I want to show Americans in general, because like people have this like false assertion, false notion that it's people have this like false notion that it's like they will arrest you for a meme or whatever. It's not like that at all. Okay, calm down. It's funny because like I've dealt with cops at this point all around the world, as you guys know. So as far as like cops that I've dealt with all around the world, European cops in France, American cops, just European cops in other European countries, and even Japanese cops as well, I will say that it's not even remotely up there. The further west you go, the worse cops get, the more aggressive they get. America being the worst one out of all of them.
It's insane. This is insane. This is disgusting. Please God, please deport him to China. Please denaturalize this fucking piece of shit.
If he had pornography on his phone, they could arrest him.
Yes.
Pornography is not legal in China.
If he had a picture of Winnie the Pooh on his phone, he could have gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, the cops in the West are so much worse. They're so much worse. Okay. Than the cops that racially profile you, which is totally fine, by the way. It's totally fine that cops racially profile. And again, this is exactly what I'm saying when I say that these people, these radical extremists like Hasan, do not care about free speech one iota. He is justifying the police looking at your phone and thinking they saw a meme and being able to go through your phone and delete it or arrest you or take your phone away from you. Okay, so completely infringe on your freedom of speech just because, the West has said mean, bad things about China. So they're totally justified in infringing on your free speech to make sure you're not saying mean, bad things about China.
Well, he's also against the Chinese people being against their own government because he's supporting that.
Yes.
He's saying they didn't realize that we were pro the government.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're anti the government, guess what? You get locked up and put away. You definitely get harassed, if nothing else.
Someone please plant some drugs on Hasan. So he gets arrested in China.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. This is so dumb.
1 minute, 19 seconds.
Disgusting.
Hasan talks China.
Yes.
And what he loves about it so far.
Oh, God.
I know. Torture. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
My mind, in my conscience, I have already become Chinese. Okay? We were already white Chinese in this chat. I've already become full Chinese. Okay? Let me just start by saying that. It's fucking sick. Okay? Like, you have abundant style consumption paired up with a centrally controlled economy, an economic system that has yielded tremendous development. You have 1950s Soviet era building blocks next to the Gucci store. If there was ever a country that represented the synthesis, the things that I enjoy so much personally. If ever such a country existed, I do not know. You have to try the premium grilled chicken sandwich at McDonald's China, or I'm gonna report you to the CCP officials. You have met me at a very Chinese time in my life, chat.
Oh, so he's a big Gucci fan, huh?
Yeah. So excited
Gotta
for the
get his
Gucci
Gucci
store.
fix. I
Yes. Oh,
When was the
geez.
last time you gushed over a Gucci store, Sitch?
Let me think.
Never.
Probably fucking never.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a woman.
They've got the
And I'm-
Gucci store and brutalist architecture right
Oh.
next to each other. Aren't I a citizen of the world?
Chat. Oh, chat. Nothing gets me so excited for communism, like more than shocking my dog, than a luxury brand store that represents the peak levels of elite capitalism right next to Soviet style architecture.
I
Oh,
know.
God. That's my aesthetic, chat. Okay. I want the Gucci brand all over my body while I'm in China and doing communism. All right. That's me. That's my aesthetic.
Yeah.
God, you have to be a literal fucking 10 IQ retard to
My
listen
mind.
to this
In my conscience.
and be like, oh, this is great. This is a person that's going to tell me about the fucking world.
So I have a couple of friends that have moved to China, and also I've watched a bunch of YouTube channels of guys that have moved to China.
Mhm.
And most people say, "Oh yeah, the Chinese women love American men." That's
Mhm.
like the reason why a lot of guys like to go to China. So it's not for the Gucci handbags. I don't know what
Interesting.
this guy's talking about.
Interesting. Well, we all know that Hasan, he prefers going to brothels of questionable
Right.
age range in Europe. Okay. So who knows what's going on in China?
He's probably in the brothel in China.
Right.
Although I
right.
think I'm not sure if the brothels are legal. They have cuddle brothels, which I think are legal.
Hmm. Well, you see, but that's how it works. Okay. China makes sure they get the white monkeys into the quote cuddle brothel, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get some compromising footage of them to just
Oh,
always
yeah.
have on the back
Yeah.
burner, right? In case Hassan ever thinks to dare challenge China again.
They're definitely going through all of his communications. That's for sure. Especially
Yeah, of
as
course.
prominent as he is. Oh yeah.
Okay, this is a 16-second clip. This is kind of funny. This is someone in China knows Asman, and Hassan is not happy about that. He gets
Oh,
a little
really?
triggered. He's a little triggered. He's like, "What? What? How dare they?"
Hassan on the Asmongold. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like they know fucking Asmongold and shit. That's so strange.
Yeah,
No one from China should know who Asmongold is.
You remember me? Last time I said hi to you when you were booked me.
Yeah, I do remember that. Were you guys together at the time? Like,
Yeah, we were.
as in like yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Hassan.
I know. Rent free, constantly, always thinking about it.
What is this? Posted a preview of Hassan's interview.
Okay, so this is the Chinese government
Mm-hmm.
did an interview, or their news station or whatever did some interview with Hassan, and they posted a preview. And this lady, by the way, she is notorious for being a propagandist for China. She's a Chinese Uyghur who
Mhm.
did a bunch of like, oh, look, nothing's going bad with the Uyghur. Look, everything's totally fine with Uyghurs. There's no problems whatsoever. So she does a bunch of propaganda. She's their Uyghur monkey, so to speak, that
Mhm.
they point to.
Oh yeah, perfect.
And, we watched this in the past. Hassan has always run interference for China and the Uyghur genocide and always downplayed it or said it didn't happen. So, of course, he's going to meet with some lady who's involved in this and give a completely positive interview, which, by the way, you'll notice what he's wearing. He's like, I guess he decided to cosplay as Mao or something. He's wearing like a little Mao outfit. It's very strange.
It is bizarre. Look at
Yes.
that.
Yes.
All right, 2 minutes. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
I also wanted to show my audience and the Western world in general that there are a lot of rumors about China. There's a lot of misunderstandings and also just outright lies, and that it's just another normal country, just like every other country is.
This is Hasan Piker, an American online streamer, influencer, and a political commentator who wields significant influence over the young demographic in the US. He's known for his daily streams featuring political commentary and media analysis, and has amassed a combined 4.5 million followers on Twitch and YouTube. In his streams, he often discusses China's development with his viewers. Now, he has finally taken his first trip to China.
I know Beijing's your first stop in your whole travel plan in China. It's probably just been 2 days for you to arrive China. How's your experience so far?
It's been amazing. I haven't slept at all, but I'm carrying myself because I'm so excited. It's been a remarkable experience thus far. But I was always very excited to come to China, so this has been a dream come true for me.
What do you want to experience the most, or what do you want to try the most?
The food, I want to see all the big tier 1 cities, but most importantly, I am super stoked that I'm going to get on a high-speed train tomorrow to go to Shanghai, because I also want high-speed rail in America.
Why? Why are you looking forward to visit China?
Well, part of it is because I talk about China quite a bit as far as like lessons to learn and what America could adopt and emulate, and seeing it in real time, I think is a lot different. I also wanted to show my audience and the Western world in general that there are a lot of rumors about China. There's a lot of misunderstandings and also just outright lies, and that it's just another normal country, just like every other country is. I know that, but one, experiencing it for myself is good, and seeing it for myself is good, and then two, showing it to other people as well, I think will be a good opportunity.
So crazy. So, I mean, he's totally carrying water for the Chinese government because he's seen the problem himself up close and personal. They took his phone and rifled through it, but that's just a normal country. Just a normal country.
What, Adam? They have trains that go fast.
Well, you got to get permission to even live stream in Tiananmen Square. Just a normal country. Just a normal everyday country.
Is
right?
freedom of speech worth it if you can get a fast train?
Look, I'll take freedom of speech any day over fast trains. I'll walk.
Okay.
I'll walk for freedom of speech.
What a disgusting American you are, taking freedom of speech over fast trains. I can't believe you. It's insane.
We'll do fine with horses. We'll go back to horse and buggy before we give up freedom of speech.
Give me liberty or give me death.
Yeah, exactly. Give me liberty and a fast horse any day.
Give me liberty or give me a high-speed train.
That's Hasan right there.
That is Hasan.
What a dipshit.
And also, like, you know the country's evil because not only does their interview have background music, horrible background music, but
they have the little Zoik.
Yes, it all these like weird cutesy sound effects or something.
Yes.
Like he's being interviewed by an anime girl. Like, what is happening? We just do these sound effects, like.
I thought this was China, not Japan.
Yes.
What's going on?
Well, they got a copy, obviously, because everyone knows Japan's superior.
Yeah. Hasan probably thinks he's in Japan. He's like, I can't wait to see Chainsaw Man.
You guys like anime? You like anime here?
Is Luffy from here?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, where's Luffy at? I need to go for some Luffy. So, I haven't read this book, but someone was talking about this book called Invisible China. Okay. Written by someone named Scott Rosell and Natalie Hell. It's an interesting last name. It's called Invisible China, How the Urban-Rural Divide Threatens China. And supposedly in the book, they say that 50% of rural toddlers in China face permanent IQ stunting due to undernourishment.
Malnourishment? Wow.
Yes. 40% of school children in rural communities in southern China attend school every day with intestinal worms. Jesus. And supposedly more than 30% of rural students have vision problems and don't have access to glasses.
Wow.
So, but China's great because they got the fast trains. They go pew pew. Vroom.
Yeah, that's all bullshit. The government puts out this propaganda for people like Hasan who are stupid enough to fall for it.
I know. And also we found out, I believe yesterday there was a report about this. It turned out, okay, that this is insane. Okay, let's talk about the American government being retarded. So there's some American military base in Missouri where we have a lot of our B-2 bombers, right? Those are the big secret black wing jet looking things that drop, bombs, can drop nukes and all this other stuff.
Just like
And
every other.
supposedly near or like right next to where one of these military bases are where they store all these planes, there's some kind of trailer park. It's like a private trailer park. And guess what? The Chinese government, through a bunch of hidden shell companies,
Owns the trailer
owns
park.
the fucking trailer park so
No
that they
way.
could spy on our fucking Air Force.
Wow. Wow.
Isn't that fantastic?
They bought the fucking trailer park.
Yes. And they're like, they just figured it, they just realized it, or they just reporting on it now.
Are they still renting out trailers to people and then they just
Yes.
wheel in a couple of their own?
Of course, yeah. They
Full of
rent
listening devices.
they rent out the trailers.
How perfect it's a trailer park. So they can bring in all of their spying equipment in a
Exactly.
mobile home. Oh,
And you would never
just a
think.
new mobile home here.
Yep. Yep. Isn't it insane?
It is. It is crazy. God.
And then there's this other story. This is the Wall Street Journal wrote this article that was all about how China is circumventing the loopholes in order to get AI chips from NVIDIA.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, without going through it, they do this whole insane thing that is actually completely legal, where they go through all these shell companies and they essentially just are able to transfer chips to themselves completely legally through all the shell company nonsense. So, but I'm so glad that Hasan is just running all this disgusting interference and defense for this country.
He doesn't care about America. He's Turkish, obviously.
Well, he said he doesn't care about America. He doesn't even understand the concept of patriotism.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think he does. I think he's lying. His patriotism is for Turkey.
mm-hmm.
His patriotism is for Islam. That's where his patriotism lies.
Yeah.
J-Mac,
our circuit father for $100. Thank you so much, J-Mac. Says, my grandpa loved visiting China for business, but said he'd never do it for vacation. He also said how it's obvious when they try and scam American businessmen, especially if you're building there. He cussed out a few of them when he was having yards built over there.
wrecking yards.
Right.
Yeah. I can imagine. The ethos in China is very much buyer beware. And in business, they're really trying to get one over on one another. It's a much, much different ethos than in America. In America, it's more this is a win-win situation. We're all going to make money out of this deal. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, not that way in China.
Grawl for $20 says, it's been an amazing week. I got a new job and somehow landed a goth girlfriend. I
saw that.
We used to live in a simulation, but so far that's the most likely explanation for how lucky I've been this week. S-Class is the best class.
This is funny.
Did we do one of our magic free will prayers for you, Growl? I don't remember. If I'm gonna say that we did, and that's why you're getting all this lucky stuff, right? You just opened up your heart to the free will, all right? And it came to you. And it came to you in the form of a job and a goth girlfriend. It all works out. So you just gotta believe.
He said something to that effect earlier in the chat. It was great.
Nice. Yeah. Intentions work, baby. You gotta believe it. All right. J-Mac for $20. Thanks so much. Says the irony of Hasan excusing it because they're white boys is too much. His excuse for the Chinese police is that they're literally minorities and that makes them suspicious. What a cuck bitch.
Yeah, totally.
Completely
so much
accurate.
for multiculturalism, right?
I know. It's disgusting. Disgusting. God, what a piece of shit. Okay. Now let's watch. Voidzilla put out a pretty good video.
Did you get the 10 memberships from Jason too?
Oh, I didn't see that. No. Thank you, Jason.
Jason Watlington gifted 10 memberships. So welcome new members. Thanks a lot. That was awesome.
Thank you. Girl in the chat said, can confirm this is all because I subscribed to the Sitch and Adam show. Look at that.
Yeah, see, I saw that.
Yeah.
Is there anything over $10 on StreamYards?
No.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get back to that. Okay.
And I guess we're going to the watch together now.
Yeah, let me get the video. So, what?
You do that.
So the Democrats released I think it's like 3 or 4 different emails from Epstein that reinvigorated the whole Trump Epstein story connection thing in kind of an interesting way. And everyone's been talking about it. Is it actually like a good attack on Trump? Is it actually not a good attack on Trump? Is it BS or not? And Voidzilla, who's been very critical of Trump for a lot of things, I think put out a pretty fair video on the topic.
Cool.
So let me find
Impossible. How can you be fair?
It's possible. It's possible. I don't. Oh God, X changed their DMs and they're horrible now.
Now you're looking for the video.
I found it. Yeah, it's weird because like in the past, when you would link someone a YouTube video, it would show you the thumbnail, and I think they intentionally got rid of that. You can't see the thumbnail; it just says the text.
Oh my God! JMac just gifted 50 gifted memberships. Look at that.
Today we're talking about
Thank you, JMac, for the 50 gifted members.
Come on, Sitch, show some excitement.
Thank you, JMac. Our target follower with 50 gifted memberships. Look at that, making it rain green. All right.
Welcome, new members. Look at that.
Amazing. Anyway. Amazing.
Thank you.
Make sure you click. Okay, here's a video.
the 20,000 Epstein.
Now, do you like CoffeeZilla?
I do. I generally like CoffeeZilla.
Oh, you do? That seems
do you
a little...
not?
Of course I do. I love CoffeeZilla. What are you talking about?
No, I like CoffeeZilla, but he's been very... Well, since CoffeeZilla spends a lot of time, if you don't watch him, he spends a lot of time talking about financial scams.
Scams, yeah.
Yes.
He doesn't like people getting scammed all the time.
Right. And he really
he is the new Consumer Protection Agency now that it's been completely gutted by Doge.
Yes. And he talks a lot about specifically like crypto scams and things of that nature. And so he's been very, I don't believe he's been political really until recently. But it's really just, he does not like how dismissive the Trump administration is in terms of allowing all these crypto scams and stuff to just happen. And also that the Trump administration keeps, shutting down cases against these crypto people who just happen to donate to the Trump cryptocurrency and stuff like that.
These crypto ATMs that they have at little liquor stores, I saw a thing that they were saying up to 1/3 of the business transactions in those machines are scams, are people being scammed into turning their money into crypto for some internet scam. Which, if 1/3 of your business is aiding scammers, why does this even exist? Let's shut these fuckers down.
It is insane. That's completely insane.
Yeah. They need to do something about that. If you guys want to keep your crypto, you got to deal with the scammer issue.
Well, it's like, is there really a person who's like, oh, I really want to buy some crypto. I got to go to the gas station to buy
yeah, exactly.
To buy my crypto. Like, what?
Well, I think they're designed for people who have crypto that want to turn their crypto into cash and get cash out of the ATM. So
yeah, but then it should only be one way then, not the other way.
Yeah, that would be a good solution, right?
Like if you really want to do that. So okay, here, let's watch this.
Files that got released. It's a complicated picture involving a lot of powerful people, but let me just say right up front, this is an ongoing story. There's a lot that's going to be released in the coming days. So just understand we're going to do our best to explain what has been happening because this story has been full of twists and turns. It starts with the Democrats releasing 3 emails from the Jeffrey Epstein estate. One says that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. A victim spent hours at my house with him. Another says the victim, Mar-a-Lago, Trump says he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine Maxwell to stop. And then the third email is from Michael Wolff talking about Jeffrey Epstein's association with Trump, saying you can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it looks like he really could win, you could save him generating a debt. Basically implying the idea that Epstein would have some kind of compromising information on Trump. But that was just the...
So that last part is pretty interesting because now CoffeeZilla does go into this. I don't know if you've seen this video.
Haven't,
And
no.
because I saw a lot of people talking about the story, and I didn't hear anyone because I immediately like honed in on that, and I haven't really heard anyone else talk about it except for Coffee Soul later in this video, which is Michael Wolff is the journalist who spent like 100 days or something in the Trump administration. He really does not like Trump. He's now, he had this weird association with Epstein where he was getting all this dirt about Epstein, and he has like a podcast on the Daily Beast where he's constantly talking about Trump and all this stuff. And if you have this email where it's like Michael Wolff talking to Jeffrey Epstein, basically trying to like scheme with Jeffrey Epstein, the saying, hey, you should go do this thing so that you can have like blackmail material or you can basically generate a favor or something from Donald Trump. Like that seems so fucking insane. Like that's not, you don't generally think journalists are supposed to be engaged in that kind of behavior. They're supposed to be asking people questions. They're not supposed to be like, oh, hey, you should go engage in some sort of blackmail material.
Right. Yeah.
with the guy who's running for, this is when he's running for president. This is the end of 2015.
Pitching some sort of conspiracy.
Right.
Yeah. That's usually not a journalist job, right?
No. Now, I wouldn't be surprised, unfortunately, that a lot of journalists, because a lot of the way they operate is they try to ingratiate themselves with the subject matter. They try to make themselves they try to make the subject think that they're friends so that they can get as much information as possible. And so that will probably be his excuse for this behavior if he even ever talks about it. I am curious. I didn't get a chance to listen to it. He did have a podcast, though. I think it came out before all this. I'm not sure if he has one after all this. I am curious if he's going to have to address all this because this sounds kind of insane.
Nate the lawyer has been tweeting about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the email, there's a redacted name, but evidently the email's published and we know who
it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's Virginia.
It's Virginia Guthrie. So yeah, Voido's
And
going to
none
talk
of this,
about that. Yes.
and none of this is new information, right? We already know.
Well, I don't know if we had these specific emails. So the emails might be new-ish, but like I guess the question is the information that is in the emails new?
Right.
Because it sort of is not, and it sort of is, which I'll talk about a little bit when we
Okay. Nate
further.
I've only seen Nate the lawyer respond to this, and he's basically saying there's nothing new here and it's kind of scammy. So if the emails are already out, why did they do the redaction?
So I would assume they did the redaction to make it look worse because Virginia Guthrie is on record in a deposition saying that nothing bad happened between her and Trump.
Okay, that makes sense.
So they would redact her name from the emails because it would make it look more like, oh, who are they talking about?
Right. So they might think it's someone new.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And I believe the Republicans responded by showing the unredacted emails. And there's actually an interview on CNN that was kind of interesting where they asked a Democrat House representative, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know," and they admitted that, or they acknowledged that it would be weird to redact the name of someone who's dead because Virginia Guthrie killed herself. So, because you're not protecting them at this point,
right?
Really could win. You could save him generating a debt, basically implying the idea that Epstein would have some kind of compromising information on Trump. But that was just the start of it, because then after that, the GOP came out swinging and they said Democrats whine about releasing the files, but they only cherry pick when they have them to generate clickbait. You deserve the full truth. And then they released over 20,000 files. Some of it had to do with Trump, some of it didn't. Importantly, 2 of the emails that were in there were some of the ones that the Democrats released, except they were unredacted in the GOP copy. And these lack of redactions are obviously very intentional. So we see first, I want you to realize the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. And then it says, Virginia spent hours at my house with him. Now that name is really important because it's Virginia Giuffre. She was the Prince Andrew accuser, but importantly, she did not accuse Trump, rather saying that he couldn't have been friendlier. This obviously is one of the main reasons the GOP appears to have released this, because in part, they're implying that, hey,
look, he's saying all the things we just talked about.
Yeah, yes,
That's
exactly.
hilarious.
Yeah, no, I told you he did a good coverage. He does fair coverage of the whole situation. Yeah,
I didn't watch the video, so
right. But
But
there's
yeah,
something that he doesn't talk about. I haven't seen other people talk about. Let me go back here a second. Well, first, let me just say, in case anyone doesn't know, the phrase "the dog that hasn't barked" it means that there's some key piece of information or evidence that should have gone off but hasn't yet, but then that makes it evidence within of itself. Okay. So like if there was someone who's like I think it's from like a Sherlock Holmes book, and it was like, oh, if there was some sort of murder or some sort of loud sound that was going on, someone breaking the house, there should have been dogs barking. But the fact that there wasn't means that that's sort of incriminating that you have some
that the
information about
neighbor
that.
with the barking dog was involved.
Right. Yeah. Like the dog wouldn't bark because, yeah, exactly. Right. So if you look at the date for this, it says April 2nd, 2011. So I was kind of curious because I hadn't seen anyone really talk about like what is the context to this situation? What are they talking about? And so what I believe this is that in 2011, in March of 2011, so around the same time, this is when Virginia Roberts, um, she sued Epstein. This is when she began her civil case suing Epstein for, the sexual assault and the grooming, all these other allegations, and also dropping the allegations on Prince Andrew and all this other stuff. So Virginia's involved in this lawsuit against Epstein. This is after Epstein has already been arrested and served his, sweetheart deal in Florida. That was total bullshit. And now he's being sued by Virginia. So that makes me think that what is being discussed here is he's wondering, or he's realizing, well, Trump hasn't been involved in this lawsuit, or there's been no indication that Trump has been involved whatsoever in this lawsuit. And so that maybe he's worried, maybe Epstein is worried that Trump could involve himself in this lawsuit or be
Ah,
asked to testify or be deposed or something to that effect.
right, linking Trump to Epstein.
Or no, just blinking, providing evidence. I don't think it would be Epstein worried that Trump is involved. It'd be more like I'm guessing. Now I'm guessing that Epstein's more worried that Trump could provide information that would be damaging against Epstein to Virginia or the police or something to that effect.
Right. Well, if he's
Because
worried about that, then Trump is probably innocent of these allegations
right, right. That's what
because you wouldn't worry about that if you had dirt on him. You'd be like, well, I got enough dirt on him. He's not going to say anything.
right. Or actually, you know what? Or another interpretation. Again, we have to kind of interpret because it's like an out of context email, which I always hate. Because it says, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Virginia spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. So actually, never mind. I think now that I read it again, I think based on the phrasing of this makes me think Epstein thinks Trump already did roll on him and was the one that maybe was involved in getting Virginia to do this or to get her to engage in a lawsuit. Because he sounds like he's saying, why isn't Trump named in any of these investigations or any of these allegations? Because he was involved. So actually it does kind of incriminate him.
Trump gave her
Um,
the money to sue and said, just don't mention me.
that's what Epstein seems to be implying in 2011. So that's kind of interesting if
Hmm.
that's the implication.
Trump
Now,
paid her
obviously,
off just like Stormy Daniels.
right, right. Now, I want to read because this is kind of interesting. This is what she said. There was an article, the article that Virginia said originally said Donald Trump was a good friend of Jeffrey Epstein's. He didn't partake in sex with any of us, but he flirted with me. He laughed and he would tell Jeffrey, "You've got the life." However, years later, when being questioned by lawyers for Maxwell, Virginia, who Virginia sued in 2015 for defamation, Virginia said the quote about Trump attributed to her was not actually accurate. She also said that she met Trump when she worked at Mar-a-Lago in 2000, but she said she did not recall ever seeing Trump at Epstein's house or seeing Trump and Epstein together in the same place. She also said Trump never flirted with her. In a November 2016 deposition, Virginia was asked by an attorney for Maxwell what was inaccurate about the Trump quote in the 2011 article. So it's in 2011.
Well, it sounds like everything.
Well, here's what's weird. So we have in 2011, we have this email where Epstein is worried about Trump having some kind of weird connection with Virginia. And apparently she says, or quoted as saying, that Trump was a good friend, though they never did anything together, but she'd seen them interact with each other. Right. But then now in 2016, or 5 years later in 2016, she's saying kind of the opposite. She says, Donald Trump was a good friend of Jeffrey. That part is true. He didn't partake in any sex with us, but he flirted with me. It's true that he didn't partake in any sex with us, but it's not true that he flirted with me. Donald Trump never flirted with me, according to what she said in 2016.
Yeah, didn't she also say that she never saw them together?
She did.
Epstein and Trump.
Right. She said, so here's here, let me just read you the deposition.
Well, the quote wasn't the quote that they spent a bunch of time together at Mar-a-Lago?
Yes.
So that part of the quote's wrong too.
So the question was, how do you know who Donald Trump had sex with? And she says, oh, I didn't physically see him have sex with any of the girls, so I can't say who he had sex with in his whole life or not. But I just know it wasn't with me when I was with the other girls. Who were the other girls that you were with in Donald Trump's presence? None. I work for Donald Trump and I met him probably a few times. When have you met him? At Mar-a-Lago. My dad and him, I wouldn't say they were friends, but my dad knew him and they would talk all the time. Well, not all the time, but when they saw each other. Have you ever seen Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein in presence with one another? She says no. This is in 2016. When you say, oh, sorry, what is the basis for a statement that Donald Trump is a good friend of Jeffrey? She says, Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump is a good friend of his, but you never observed them together. No, not that I can remember. I mean, not off the top of my head. When did Donald Trump flirt with you? He didn't. That was inaccurate. Did you ever see Donald Trump at Jeffrey's home? Not that I can remember. On his island? Not that I can remember. In New Mexico? Not that I can remember. New York? Not that I can remember. So that's kind of interesting. So she's saying that that the 2011 quote was misquoted.
Yeah, and this is why the Democrats redacted it.
Yeah,
because obviously
exactly.
she's not like the smoking gun,
right?
But they want it
right.
to seem like we've got the smoking gun right here.
Yes, but it is interesting because now it would be helpful to try to get a further context on what this email even means, how to interpret it properly.
It's you so could have sad that this woman committed suicide. She's not even with us anymore.
I know, but yes, you're right. That is why they redacted the name. They redacted the name to make it seem
salacious.
Worse. Yeah, salacious. I think this was twofold. I think this was a plan to change the media narrative away from the Democrats caving on the shutdown, which was kind of the narrative that everyone was talking about the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
And now they can talk about this, and also to sort of reinvigorate the Epstein story, to get more pressure to release Epstein files or do whatever they want, to do to pressure Trump and the Epstein, just to make him look bad.
Yeah. Democrats are ready to turn the page.
So, this is the other thing that's weird too about this, and the Trump connection, if you didn't know, was that Virginia Giuffre worked at Mar-a-Lago when she was 15. She worked at Mar-a-Lago, and that's how Maxwell Ghislaine found her, supposedly. Like, she was there and saw her and essentially poached her from Donald Trump, and then got her involved with Epstein and doing all the sex stuff. And apparently this had happened multiple times. And this was sort of the thing that even Trump had said, well, in kind of a Trumpian language, that he, this is the whole, like, he threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago was because he was essentially poaching women from Mar-a-Lago for his own misdeeds.
Yeah,
and
look,
the question,
Trump hires a bunch of nice girls for just working around Mar-a-Lago, right? It's all innocent. He's basically mentoring them how to be good business people, right? There's no hanky-panky,
she was just,
no
she was just
taking
working
their clothes off. I'm in the middle of a story. So.
Okay.
And then you have this pedophile come in with his female poacher, poaching these women and getting them into drugs and pornography. Of course, Donald Trump is going to be upset about that. Look, if you have like a Big Brother program going or something like that, and someone comes in and gets all of the people in your program in with gangs and drugs and carjackings and stuff like that, you're going to be pissed, right?
Right. Well, it was okay. To be clear, it was not a big. I know you're joking. It was not a Big Brother program. She was working just a normal minimum wage job at Mar-a-Lago. She was just working there, and then
right, yes,
Virginia or Ghislaine Maxwell sees her, and she's like, "Oh, this is an attractive 15-year-old girl. I bet Jeffrey would like to do sexual things with her because he's a disgusting piece of shit."
That's so bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But then you see the email above it where it says Virginia, and this is from 2019, and this is Epstein telling Michael Wolff this, saying Virginia worked at Mar-a-Lago. She was the one that accused Prince Andrew. Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member ever. So he's saying it was a member. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. So that would mean that obviously Trump knew that Ghislaine was poaching women from Mar-a-Lago. The question would be, what exactly did he know? Did he know that they were just being hired by Epstein? Did he know they were being hired by Epstein to basically be prostitutes or to engage in sexual activity? What was the extent? What exactly did he think was going on there?
What were they doing at Mar-a-Lago though? Were
They were just doing normal jobs.
minimum wage jobs? Were they just housekeeping work? Is that what was going on?
I believe the article I read, I was trying to find it again.
That's why I was like, I didn't mean it as an actual mentorship program, but obviously when you're hiring somebody for their first job, you are kind of a mentor of them in the employment realm.
So this
right?
is kind of a weird job title. I've never heard of this before, but I'm not a rich person who goes to clubs. Or these places. So let me know. It says, according to the Daily Mail, this is an article from 2011. It says that at the age of 15, she was working as a changing room assistant at the Mar-a-Lago club.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is a changing room assistant?
Well, you hand out the towels and stuff like that.
Okay. Is that what it means? All right. Because I know, like, if you go to, like, I was assuming you go to a department store, there's, like, the woman who, like, makes sure you're not stealing shit, right? They give you the little number when you go in, but this is
but I mean,
that,
obviously they're not selling clothes, so I'm assuming they're handing out towels when people change into their swimwear by the pool.
Right. They're not helping you change. They're not going in there to help you change in finger quotes.
Right.
One hopes. Okay. Right. So
probably,
she's working. She's standing at the front of the changing rooms, giving people towels or water, whatever nonsense. And then Maxwell Ghislaine is like, "Oh, hey, you wanna make some more money?" Yeah.
Go over to Jeffries and look, I'd be pissed if you were poaching nice people from my area.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Trump obviously knows the guy, her father, right?
Right.
So that's got to be uncomfortable.
It seemed like, though, I don't know, from the quotes, Trump saying, "Oh, Epstein likes him young" and stuff. I would assume that he was aware that the girls being poached were being used for some sort of malicious purposes beyond just normal employment.
Yeah, that's why you'd be angry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could be angry either way. Just you don't want people someone to poach your workers, but you'd be extra angry if you realized they were being poached to be groomed. Yes.
Yeah.
Importantly, two of the emails that were in there were some of the ones that the Democrats released, except they were unredacted in the GOP copy. And these lack of redactions are obviously very intentional. So we see first, I want you to realize the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. And then it says, Virginia spent hours at my house with him. Now that name is really important because it's Virginia Giuffre. She was the Prince Andrew accuser, but importantly, she did not accuse Trump, rather saying that he couldn't have been friendlier. This obviously is one of the main reasons the GOP appears to have released this, because in part, they're implying that, hey, if you release this redacted, people are going to speculate who this victim was, thinking that there was something that happened, but actually the person that's in there didn't accuse Trump of something illegal. And so this is sort of the implication here with the Democrats saying, well, you're unredacting a victim's name. So that's been the battle there. Specifically, the second email, by the way, just further confirms it. It says blank worked at Mar-a-Lago. She was one of the ones that accused Prince Andrew. In the Democrat copy, all of that was redacted because, of course, it gives away the fact that we are talking about, once again, Virginia Giuffre. Also, in these emails released by the Republicans, it says blank worked at Mar-a-Lago. Trump knew of it, came to my house many times. He never got a massage. That's straight from Jeffrey Epstein clearing him of a massage, which obviously is the one person you most don't want to get a massage from. So honestly, that is good.
See, Trump knows. He's like, yeah, right. I'll pass on the massage. I can get my own massage, motherfucker. Mm-hmm. He knows. Right. He knows. Look, Trump supposedly worked with the mob. Or the mob worked with his dad when they were in construction and stuff. Trump fucking knows. Trump is like, the massage. Yeah, right. Get the fuck out of here.
For him, which is obviously why they released it. Begging the question why they didn't release it sooner. Maybe it's because they didn't want people to know that Trump knew about the girls. Now, one thing I want to talk about is the fact that Epstein is saying, hey, look, Trump publicly said that it was me that he asked to stop, but actually it was Ghislaine that he asked to stop. And my question here is, if it is Maxwell that was the one who poached Virginia Giuffre from Mar-a-Lago and then trafficked her, then why is she getting so much special treatment? I mean, that is the part where the Republicans don't look good at all. I mean, what is going on with Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted sex offender, trying to get a pardon, getting Todd Blanche to give her a softball interview, and then she immediately gets preferential treatment. Look, we've been over the fact that she's at basically a special prison in Bryan, Texas, where normally someone of her status wouldn't be allowed to go to because it's too nice, it's too low security. But in addition to that, new reports are saying that top officials at Camp Bryan are sick of being Maxwell's bitch. Federal law enforcement staff working at the camp have been waiting on Maxwell hand and foot, including, by the way, reportedly she's been given a puppy as part of the preferential treatment she's been receiving.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, that is a great question and very bizarre. Is yes, if was Maxwell that Trump personally told to GTFO because you're poaching people, presumably for grooming sexual purposes, why does he seem to be so deferential? Why does he seem to be so empathetic to her that, you know, they're going to actually transfer her from an actual serious prison to a minimum security prison, which she shouldn't have been able to even go to because of the length of time that she's serving? You have to be like under specific time because they feel like if you're above a specific length of time, you're more likely to try to escape. So you shouldn't be in a minimum security, and yet they put Maxwell there. And you have guards. Now, maybe this is not true, but you have someone claiming that guards are saying that they're waiting hand and foot on her. She's got a fucking puppy. Like, who's getting puppies in prison? Is this a normal thing? Do people normally get puppies in prison? I've never heard of this before.
I've seen Goodfellas, right? Some
They didn't
people
have a
pay for the good treatment. Well, they
I
had
know
garlic
it,
and all kinds
right in
of.
Goodfellas. Okay, they got like garlic and they got some nice food that they can make big meals. And
They got
didn't
their
get
own
puppies.
kitchen.
They had their own kitchen. They didn't get puppies though. They didn't get a fucking puppy.
Right.
Why is she getting a puppy? It's so bizarre.
You sure?
Yeah.
Seems like there was a dog under that table
Mm,
in Goodfellas, but
right.
so the big question everyone has is Trump involved, right? A lot of people think Trump might be involved. If Trump just knew what was going on and didn't get involved,
Right.
is that bad enough that Trump would want to hide all this shit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he was. Well, I don't think he was involved with the underage stuff. I do think that him and Epstein were involved in some weird sexcapades. You know, that letter
With
the
legal women, right?
with legal
Obviously.
women,
Yeah.
yes. The weird birthday letter is obviously like, okay, they were sharing a woman or something. A lot of people have said things kind of like that. The fact that yeah, so that's probably what's going on. And I think you're right. I think he knew, but he didn't care or didn't stop it or didn't really do anything other than getting rid of Maxwell from Mar-a-Lago. And that would be why he would cover it up.
Right. Yeah. Because obviously, if there's despicable things going on, and someone is a person of means like Trump, you'd think, well, it was your duty to get involved, even though you didn't. So,
Right. And I think that's probably partially why he's so bending over backwards for Maxwell, is that maybe he's worried that she knows things and that she'll spill the beans. And that's why they're like, oh, well, let us put you in some cushy prison and let us, you can get whatever you want. You can get a puppy. You can get all, the guards can give you, anything that you want. Here's your PS5.
yeah, if Maxwell came out and said Trump didn't know, Trump wasn't involved, but he knew what was going on and he looked the other way, that's just as bad. I think people would take that badly.
Well, it's not just as bad, but it's bad. It would definitely put a hamper on his presidency.
I mean,
especially after doing what seems like a cover up.
It's just as bad in the context of how people will blame him. It would be a huge black mark on his,
of course,
on his reputation. So,
well, it's weird. I think if it came out that he knew but was not doing anything about it, if that had come up like earlier and he would just say, "Oh, this is kind of fake or whatever, or I suspected, but I didn't have enough to like do anything about it." I think a lot of people, not everyone, but I think a lot of people, a lot of MAGA people would be okay with it or they dismiss it. But once you start to do the cover up, once you start to have like, oh, you go in there and Cash and Pam Bondi say that, oh, we're going to completely get to the bottom of this. And then they do like, they basically sit on it and they do nothing, whatsoever, nothing of value. So it seems like a very obvious cover up. Then that like adds a whole nother layer of like, oh, well, now if it comes out that he did know about, didn't do nothing. And then he also covered up. That's just like too toxically nuclear.
I don't know the details of the situation, though. I mean, if this woman worked at Mar-a-Lago and her dad got her the job, Trump knows her dad, and she's poached away and ends up in a sex ring with Jeffrey Epstein, the dad goes to Donald Trump and says, "What the fuck? She was working here. Now she's in with this sleaze bag.
Right.
Yeah, you got to step in. You got to do something."
That's
and Trump says,
point,
"I can't do anything. There's nothing I can do. I can't help you." That's fucking bad. Like,
no, you're right.
That's fucking horrible.
That's
really
bad,
yeah. I'm like, that's a narrative that's going to stick to the American, that the American public is going to understand and relate to.
I mean, her father's still alive and he does interviews and stuff. I don't know if this question has been asked. I'm sure someone's asking about Trump. But I'd be curious if someone asked him this specific question, like, did you ever go to Trump to be like, what was up with
if this happened?
Epstein?
He's been paid off like 1 million years ago.
Hmm.
He paid off Stormy Daniels. You're definitely gonna pay off the dad.
Sure. But I mean, would you accept a payout from a rich guy to cover up for your abuse that your daughter suffered for years? I mean, that's pretty
I
crazy.
personally wouldn't accept that kind of payout,
right.
but I'm not. Yeah, maybe he didn't take a payout.
I see something. The AI is like saying that she was accusing her own father of abuse, but I don't know if that's true. So.
Oh my God.
I don't know if that's actually true because it's AI, and so
okay,
you gotta be careful with the AI because if you make it.
Well, look,
shit up.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say if the dad was abusing her, then he definitely took a payout.
Okay, here's the maybe the AI is getting from Wikipedia. It says Virginia stated that she was abused by her father from an early age, and that he might have received payments from Jeffrey Epstein at some point, an allegation which he has denied.
So look. He got a payout from Jeffrey Epstein.
She also told the Miami Herald that she went from being in an abusive situation to being a runaway to living in foster homes. She lived on the streets at the age of 14. So, okay. So she's had just like really fucked up life. So, okay. I mean, her father's not exactly a trustworthy.
She lived on the streets from the age of 14. Is that what it said?
When she was 14, she lived on the streets.
So, and she worked at Mar-a-Lago when she was 15, when she was a runaway.
Yes. Well, I don't know. I don't know what was going on when she was 15 because.
Well, it sounds like look, if you're living on the streets at 14 and then 15, you get your shit together and go work at Mar-a-Lago.
Well, no, it says, okay. So it says after she was living on the streets when she was still 14, she somehow reunited with her father and started living with him again. His father worked as a maintenance manager at Mar-a-Lago, and that's how she got the job.
Of course. Her dad did get her the job. Look at this.
Okay. Wow, what a crazy fucking story.
Wow. Her dad had to know everything. Her dad had to know all this shit. What a fucked up. Yeah. How fucked up. Trump should have got involved.
Yeah,
obviously.
Receiving. Overwhelmingly, Maxwell has been getting a super nice ride in all of this. This, of course, makes us all wonder, once again, what do they have on Trump? I mean, why treat her like this if she doesn't have something compromising in all of that? It just kind of begs some questions you probably don't want to ask. Also very suspicious is the fact that immediately after this report came out, Trump personally called Rep. Lauren Boebert, urging her to withdraw support for releasing the Epstein files. Bondi, Blanche, and Patel were going to meet today about the Epstein files. This, of course, is furthering the idea the White House has no interest in this story. I think Trump tweeted multiple times today about the Epstein hoax. Again, we've heard that a million times. And the question is, why are you acting so suspicious if you have nothing to hide, right? If you didn't get the massage, which Epstein says, what are you hiding? Why are you so worried about all this stuff coming out? By the way, Press Secretary Caroline.
Well, we talked about that. We have a working theory here why he's worried about this stuff coming out. Because it is reputationally damaging to think all this stuff is going on right under your nose and you don't even get involved.
Yeah, you covered for your friend doing this heinous crime.
Yeah.
Leavitt was actually asked about the White House pressuring people to get them not to sign for the release of the Epstein files, and her response was pretty insane.
Why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns?
It shows
Oh my God, that's such a terrible answer. That answer is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it great that we're sitting down with her and saying, don't you fucking sign that thing, okay? We don't want that shit to come out. Isn't that great?
That's a good answer.
Great?
You don't like that? I thought it was a great answer.
No, it's a terrible answer.
Transparency to try to go and block files being released on the world's most prolific. But the fact we know about it, that's the transparent part. It's just insane. I mean, that's the kind of spin we've expected with this story all along. That's been part of what's been so frustrating about all of this. So look, I want to get back to this story because there's so many people involved here. We're just going to go through one by one. I mean, look, it's a lot more than just Trump. Like, one person that got kind of a weird stray in all of this was the fact that Epstein talked about Hillary doing naughties with Vince, Vince being Vince Foster, a White House counsel. There was a rumor about Clinton and Vince having some kind of affair, and then later Vince was found dead of suicide.
No, for what? Really?
Terrible.
Holy shit.
Uh-oh. The Hillary,
the Clintons strike again.
I know.
Is there an intern that the Clintons haven't fucked? I mean, come on. This
Between
is
the
insane.
two of them. But yeah, that's a great question. Between the two of them, is there anyone that the Clintons have not had sex with in Washington, D.C.?
That's crazy.
That's why she didn't care about Monica. She had her own side piece.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yep.
Watch out, interns.
And this is where we see
that they use that
Jeffrey
same
Epstein
picture
and Michael
of Hillary that makes her look like she's a supervillain.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Look at this, like she looks like she. This is the face of like the antagonist in the movie who's like about to bomb like, the innocent children village.
Yeah. Hillary, more like Hitler.
Hitlery.
Yeah.
found
Hitler.
dead of suicide. And this is where we see Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Wolff's kind of symbiotic relationship. Michael Wolff is a journalist who has been prolific in all of this. Well, I struggle to call him a journalist actually, because as we'll find, he was more like a PR guy for Epstein. But he
This is the Michael Wolff that went to the Trump administration, right?
Yes.
It's the same guy.
The same guy that's on the Daily Beast podcast.
Right.
Yeah. That's the guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's not
It's
good.
crazy.
His reputation is taking a hit in this exchange.
Oh, big
here.
time. Big
Yeah.
time.
Sounds like he didn't like Trump much.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
was actually asking Epstein and using Epstein for a lot of access to information, because Michael Wolff actually told Jeffrey Epstein, hey, basically, I'm interviewing him this afternoon. Anything you think I should ask? And he's talking about Trump. Epstein replies, do you want to be provocative? Michael Wolff says, job is to get the hard ones in without being ejected from the room. What's the one that pierces through? Jeffrey Epstein basically says, hey, you can do this softball. That's a Hillary problem. He would smile, and then you can ask about his relationship with the electricians union and Mar-a-Lago, and out you go. Obviously hinting to the idea that he's going to get kicked out if he asks about more sensitive subjects. Michael Wolff asks,
why is the electricians union a sensitive subject?
I could not tell you.
The father was a maintenance guy. Maybe that has something to do with it.
or there could have been some issue at Mar-a-Lago at the time period.
Right.
Something. I have no clue. But it's I'm this oh God, this really shows how incredibly incompetent the first Trump administration was at vetting people. Why would they let this guy sit in the White House for 100 days?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like from the beginning, there's the other email where he was talking about getting like he's like trying to help Epstein get some sort of material on Trump was from 2015. And this is the
Right.
guy the Trump administration is like, oh yeah, come, come sit in the White House with us.
Look, Trump thought he was going to write a book on him. So
Oh my God. It's so bad.
always self-promotion.
Jesus.
About, hey, what's up with Foster? And then he describes what that's all about. And this brings us to Michael Wolff, who I want to spend a little bit of time here on. Although some of you may not know as much about him, you may be less interested in him. I think he's one of sort of the worst looking people in all of this. Actually, after reading these emails, he may be the most disgusting person that comes out of that. And that's saying a lot given what's in here. But I want to just show you this because actually the Democrats initially released was this idea was that Michael Wolff and Epstein were basically planning how to respond to Epstein being brought up in the context of Trump. Michael Wolff says, I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump about his relationship with you, either on air or in Scrum afterwards. Epstein says, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? That being interesting because it's like, wait, were they in touch with Trump at this time? Because Trump denied being in contact with Epstein basically since early 2000s. But anyway, if he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you valuable PR or political currency. You can hang him in a way that generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey's a good guy that's gotten a raw deal and is victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in the Trump regime. Now, if it doesn't sound like PR, it might be sounding like blackmail to you. It's like kind of a little bit of both. Michael Wolff is basically conspiring to generate a debt for Jeffrey Epstein from Trump, who is about to become the most powerful person on the planet. So that's really bizarre because Michael Wolff has positioned himself as sort of this truth teller about Jeffrey Epstein and he's got all these tapes that he's going to release showing how close Trump and Epstein were. But it's like behind the scenes, he was actually kind of running PR for Epstein, which is sort of the worst thing you could have ever done. This is in 2016. Michael Wolff is talking to Epstein about a Patterson book, which later becomes the James Patterson Filthy Rich book. He says basically that would present some time issues if it was released too early. You would not be able to do a competing book or documentary before then. That's not to say it shouldn't be pursued. In a sense, better to know what Patterson's position is and a year from now be able to counter it. In 2016, he's playing like PR, I'm going to fix your reputation, Jeffrey Epstein.
Where do these emails come from? How do they obtain these emails? Do we know?
I don't know. They were subpoenaed, I guess, or the Congress had them somehow. So it's really weird. Because at the I never would have thought that this would have been such a massive reputation damage to Michael Wolff of all people from leaking Epstein Trump information because it looks so fucking bad for him. Now maybe you could say, oh well, he's doing this from like a journalist perspective because he wants to be the only person that has like a source on Epstein or something, or he just wants to like ingratiate himself with Epstein so he can get more dirt, more information. Like maybe that's the case, or maybe he's actually, partaking in some crazy shit that's going on behind the scenes. Because I know that.
Yeah, how many of the girls has he got a massage from, right?
Right. Because then that kind of drags him in. Like, well, is Michael Wolff? No, because Michael Wolff has always, whenever he's talked about it, he has denied. He thinks, well, he hasn't denied because he hasn't seen it, but he's always said that he does not think that the sex ring allegations are true. He's always denied that and said that he didn't think it was true. He said like that he thought Epstein was blackmailing people financially and getting money and being some kind of like financial fixer, but he's always claimed that he thought the sexual stuff was not accurate, except for the stuff, not surprisingly, the sexual stuff that may have happened years earlier with Donald Trump. So
who he absolutely hates.
Who he absolutely hates, which is, so it is weird. It is very weird. And it does make Michael Wolff seem very untrustworthy in everything he says about Trump and Epstein because he's
Well,
so involved in this.
The Daily Beast fucking loves this guy. They got like that podcast that they're always gushing over him on. We got to check back in on that podcast after this email drop, because I wonder if they're still going to have him on, or if he's going to get some questions about this.
I'm guessing his defense is going to be, well, you have to suck up to these people.
Both sides. Yeah, exactly.
You have to suck up to these people in order to get all this information, blah, 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 blah. But this, to me, and it's been going on it seems like it's going on for years. It's to me, it's like way beyond the line of proper sucking up. It's like, holy shit, this is really, really fucked.
You're not complimenting him on his sports coat. You're like,
you're like trying to plan strategies for how he can do good press, strategies for how he could maybe blackmail or get favors from the incoming president and shit.
Right. Yeah.
Some crazy stuff.
He then says, that being said, if you need an immediate counter to the book, I believe Trump offers an ideal opportunity. It's a chance to make the story about something other than you, while at the same time letting you frame your own story. Also, becoming an anti-Trump voice gives you a certain political cover, which you decidedly don't have now. And so again, we get the idea of him kind of scheming to get Epstein cover, which is so bad, because now Michael Wolff is like, oh, we're the guy exposing Trump's connections to Epstein. It's like, buddy, what are your connections to Epstein? Then we have later them discussing a lawsuit against Epstein and Donald Trump, with a woman claiming that she was raped. Michael Wolff responds, well, I guess if there's anyone who can wave this away, it's Donald. Let me know if there's anything I can do. Again, why are you trying to do something for a man accused of these things? It really seems like Michael Wolff was kind of running cover here. Now, I also want to talk about the Prince Andrew Trump scandal that appears to...
I think he got too close. Yeah, everyone talks about how Epstein was like this great charismatic figure who would suck people in. So this journalist comes in, he's like trying to interview him, and then he becomes Epstein's friend, and now he's all like, oh, what can I do for you? Can I do things for you? Let me help you. Let me help you, buddy. Ugh.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Have been brewing here, or at least is implied in the emails. You may see some people say that Epstein met Trump and Prince Andrew back in 2019, which of course would be well after Trump said they had no contact, which would be bad news for Trump. In fact, there's a few things in here which suggest that Epstein had contact with Trump. Of course, we don't know for sure. I'll just present you the evidence we do have. So this is back in 2019, June 3rd. They're talking about London real estate, about how financials are going to leave. Then Epstein says, once they are gone, the monarchy is dependable, saying Prince Andrew and Trump today, too funny. And this is actually the same day that Trump and Andrew are spotted in London, of course, meeting together. Jeffrey Epstein says, recall Prince Andrew's accuser came out of Mar-a-Lago, Virginia Giuffre. Then we have a sender that's blacked out, but I think there's strong evidence that it's Steve Bannon, by the way, just to give you some context. They say, can't believe nobody is making you the connective tissue. So the connective tissue between these two being Epstein. And then Epstein replies, F and B only. Now later, Jeffrey Epstein says, report from London. Donald now thinks he's king. Ivanka a princess. He doesn't need advisors. Bannon says, yep, London trip not good. He had a gleam in his eye. Of course, this hinting at the idea that Epstein was there. If he got a report from London, if he's talking about Prince Andrew and Trump, or that's how people are coming to that conclusion at least. And then we have the thread that makes us know this is Steve Bannon, which is he gives a link where it says Steve Bannon believes Trump obstructed justice. Michael Wolff says, he says BBC crushed him. He should give it up. The book is going to be a stiff. I don't know if he senses that. Epstein replies, unfortunately, I do know his comments have encouraged some to look to you for answers. This all being about an article about Steve Bannon, obviously. And then Steve Bannon says, Burke says, I have zero to worry about. Now, if you don't know who Burke is, he's a lawyer who previously defended Steve Bannon. Epstein then replies, good but unnecessary. Should I call Michael Wolff? Bannon says, what are you going to say to him? He's a wild animal caught in a trap. Epstein says, catch his breath. Bannon says, tell him to lay off me. It's both not working and not helping. Okay. Done. Again, this is all in the context of Michael.
Jesus Christ. This is so fucking crazy.
Wolff is attacking Steve Bannon. So Steve
Yes.
Bannon is telling him to lay off.
Yeah, Steve Bannon's telling. So we have this, like, what a insane web here. All right. Steve Bannon is telling Epstein, hey, can you tell Michael Wolff to stop writing publicity about me, bad stories about me, please? And
Yeah.
Epstein's like, sure, buddy. I'll help you out here.
Did he stop writing? That's the question.
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. Someone's gonna have to ask Wolf this question.
I reread End Times by Peter Turchin, and I caught something I didn't catch the first time. Steve Bannon had read The Fourth Turning and was super jazzed by it because he's this big time revolutionary, and he's like, "Oh my God, Trump is going to be the big dog, the Lincoln."
Right, right.
So he takes The Fourth Turning book to Trump and starts telling him all this shit, and Trump is like, "You're fucking crazy," and throws him out. Basically throws him out. Yeah. Isn't that hilarious?
No!
Isn't that fucking hilarious?
Oh my God. That's amazing. Oh, Steve Bannon ever talked about that? God, I want to hear
Well, he
this.
must have talked about it on some podcast or something. How did it get in the Peter Turchin book?
God, that must have been soul crushing. He reads his book. He's like, that's it. Where Trump is the revolution. Oh my God.
Trump is the revolution. Yeah, exactly.
Runs to Trump. He tells him all. He's so excited. He's like, oh my God. He's like bouncing around the White House. He's like, Trump, look, this book, it shows that you're going to be like the next revolutionary Jesus. And Trump just like looks at him like blankly, like, what is this bullshit? Get the fuck out of my office. Exactly. Retard. They're telling me this dumb shit.
Isn't it the greatest?
Oh my God.
I hadn't read The Fourth Turning the first time I read the Turchin book, so
Did it say,
but I
so
immediately caught it.
Right?
I immediately caught it the next time. I was like, "What?"
Did it say what the time period of that happened was?
Well, it had to be his first.
No, but I mean, like, I what now?
It doesn't.
Here, like,
I mean, you can look into it. That's why I remembered it.
I'm curious that here's like some massive. This would be the scene from the movie, right? Whether it's true or not, they'd have it like it was at that moment when Steve Bannon leaves the White House. Like Trump makes fun of him, and then Trump Jr. is there, and I don't know, like all the staff is there, and they start laughing at Bannon, calling him like a fucking idiot. And then he walks out of the White House, and he looks all sad and dejected.
Sitch loves this story.
And then
I knew he would.
That's when Steve Bannon like picks up the phone. And he's like, "I got some leaks for you," and that's when Steve Bannon starts leaking on the White House.
The Peter Turchin book, End Times, is the one where they go into elite overproduction. His argument is that all of these chaotic periods that happen because of elite overproduction. There's popular immiseration, which people are downtrodden, and there's not enough spots for the elites. The society's producing too many elites for positions for elites. The elites get disgruntled, and they use the popular immiseration of the public to basically foment revolution. And Steve Bannon is 100% like the revolutionary type. So they're using Steve Bannon as an example in this book of a counter elite. They actually use Trump as a counter elite too. So
right, but
there is some overlap with The Fourth Turning in the Peter Turchin book. So, but it's through a different line. Cleodynamics is some science of history that Peter Turchin's been selling for a while. So,
there's multiple articles from 2017
about this,
about Bannon being like into
The Fourth Turning.
This
must be where Tim gets it, because all of Tim's talk of the Civil War comes from The Fourth Turning book.
Right.
Generations Theory is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the author's name. Howell and Lowell or something like that. I should look it up. Chad will know.
Wasn't it William Strauss and Neil?
Oh yeah.
Neil Howe.
There you go. Strauss.
Yeah.
Strauss and Howe.
Wolf talking about Steve Bannon, and then he says, hey, tell him to back off. This is furthering the idea that Epstein, Bannon, Michael Wolff, they all had a close relationship, which is mostly public knowledge, but we see exactly how close. Now, in addition to this, I also wanted to note this very...
And also, like, because Steve Bannon, you know, the idea or the leak or the story was that Steve Bannon was trying to help revitalize Epstein, and that he was going to make a documentary to try to make it look like he didn't actually do any of the sex crime stuff. And then when Epstein gets caught again and, you know, either is killed or kills himself, now Steve Bannon is like, oh, what? No, what? That movie was going to expose Epstein, guys. I wasn't trying to defend him. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the audience, Steve Bannon's audience turned on Epstein.
Yes.
Probably with no awareness that Steve Bannon was ever involved with Epstein.
Of course, yeah.
All of these guys bonded over hating Trump because Trump was getting too much attention that they were all insanely jealous over. I'm certain of it.
Well, it
you
seems
don't
like
think
with
Steve Bannon would like to be president? Of course he would.
Well, yeah, Steve Bannon is interesting. Steve Bannon and Epstein obviously didn't like Trump because they were once friendly with Trump and then not, right? So they're kind of the scorned lover sort of situation. Wolf just seemed like he always hated from the beginning. I don't know what was, maybe just an ideological thing.
This very strange interaction between these two, where Epstein sends a news article about George Nader being basically caught up in some child pornography charges, and then Bannon says, not cool. Epstein, mandatory minimum 15. Bannon says MBZ must have coughed him up. How did he get extradited? Could have stayed in UAE forever.
Oh my God, this is crazy. They're like, we're all going to get caught. They're going to get us all.
Epstein says he was not extradited. He was duped. Bannon, WTF. Epstein, there is his bail hearing today, currently in Brooklyn. Doesn't look good, pre-trial detention. Now, I personally found it strange that they were so concerned about the fate of someone caught up in such horrible charges. We'll also talk about...
No, they were very interested because they knew they could be caught up.
Interesting.
At any moment.
Right.
You think Steve Bannon took the massage? You think Steve Bannon was on the massage train?
I mean, think everyone is
so.
At this point, I feel like every person that's ever known Epstein was on the massage train.
Except maybe Trump. Maybe Trump was like, "Look, I'll get my own massage. My dad works for the mob. I know how this shit works."
I think they had a threesome together with some woman, but I don't know if they got a massage. Okay.
Steve Bannon, Michael Wolff, and
Epstein? Trump and Epstein and some girl or something.
Oh, okay.
But,
I thought we were talking about these guys.
No, oh God, please, no.
They had 3 massage tables in a room.
About the Thanksgiving message, this one got a lot of attention, which is that Epstein was going to Thanksgiving, and he was asked, "Where are you having Thanksgiving?" He says, "Eva." This lady, Faith Cates, replies, "He's such a snooze. Who else is down there?" He replies, "David Fizzle, Hansen, Trump." And once again, Trump claims that he was not in contact with Jeffrey Epstein after the early 2000s. He said, "Hey, I cut him off. I realized he was a bad guy." And if Epstein's having Thanksgiving with him, that's obviously a problem. Now, I don't have any public confirmation for that outside of these emails, which are basically talking about it, implying it. Once again, the same is true of Prince Andrew.
I mean, if you're having a Thanksgiving party with 100 guests, and I guess if you get an invite, you're definitely associated with them. You haven't cut them off in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this email is not a lot to go on to know the situation.
Do you actually think these emails are about him actually seeing them, or is he just reporting on it? It's kind of hard to know, but I just want you to know what's out there. You also should know about the foreign governments that Epstein was working with. In one email, you have Jeffrey Epstein talking about advising a Russian ambassador. He says, "Churkin was great. He understood Trump after our conversations. It's not complex." And Churkin was a Russian ambassador at the time until he died. And then you also have Israel. There are a bunch of public reports about Israel being implicated with Epstein, how spies stayed with him at the time, and some of them even met at Epstein's house. And then you also have some emails between Epstein and a UAE royal, a sultan. So Epstein was rubbing shoulders with the top cream of the crop of our society. I mean, I don't think that should come as a shock. We should also probably talk about Larry Summers. He was in an article, Mogul Donor gives Harvard more than money. And then he is in emails with Larry Summers, where Epstein tells him, "When we meet, I will endeavor to mesmerize you with stories of DC. So wild." And then Larry Summers said, "I am trying to figure out why American elite think if you murder your baby by beating and abandonment, it must be irrelevant to your admission at Harvard, but hit on a few women 10 years ago and can't work at a network or think tank. Do not repeat this insight." Oops. Now everybody has it. So there you go.
Oops.
Oh. Wow.
Oops.
I mean, that's a high-level snapshot of what we saw in this release.
Can you email anything these days and assume no one's going to read this ever at some future date?
Well, Adam,
Yeah.
the new XDMs are encrypted. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. I still assume everyone's going to read them someday.
Yeah, no, you should assume that.
Lots of people being implicated in one way or another. It's quite varied. I mean, some people you find out they've been playing a journalist but have been secretly running PR cover for Epstein, like well after, you kind of knew he was implicated in a lot of this stuff. Other people like Clinton are catching strays on, affairs that they were having. Trump gets a mixed bag where initially the implication that he was kind of given was revealed to be not quite correct because they're talking about Virginia Giuffre, although it still is a mystery why he's behaving so strangely regarding Ghislaine Maxwell, why he's trying extensively to block the Epstein files. I'm not going to pretend I have all the answers. Instead, I just want to break down what we do know so far. As always, we've all been just looking to get to the end of this thing so we can all move on. It's been amazing how slow they have dripped this thing out. I mean, they have been slow rolling it this whole time. So I will update you when we have more. Today we're talking about
because they're trying to keep it from coming out, obviously. So
yeah. Well, and also, I mean, that's part of the strategy. It's beneficial for the Democrats too, is that if they have this information, is to sort of drip it out, every month or two, right? Because they want to keep the story going. And the way that you keep the story is you keep giving new information.
Yeah, but if they had the tactical nuke, I think they would just drop it.
Oh, of course.
This makes me think they don't have anything, but this is the laundry list. They're like, look, we don't have anything solid, so let's just leak the laundry list out.
100%. Yeah, 100%. You're right. If they had the fire, then they would have dropped it. But yeah, this makes it seem like they don't have the fire. They just have a lot of things around the edges that seem kind of sus, but nothing really definitive.
Yeah.
So it's still any FC news is probably going to be bad for Trump at the end of the day because it is going to reignite the story and people talking about it and pointing it out, even if it's something like this where it's like, yeah, with the Virginia stuff, it's probably not. It kind of exonerates him in some fashion. So, at least from that specific charge.
Yeah, you're going to have left-wing media, though, covering it like Trump is a rapist. And you're going to have right-wing media covering it like, oh, the Democrats are
lied. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Trying to get Trump on technicalities.
Well, it's one of those things that, and I mean, I think Trump is aware of this. This is why he was saying it was fake news and stuff, is that just having Epstein and Trump's name together in a headline is just bad for Trump. Most people don't read the news. They just see headlines. They just kind of absorb, information through osmosis generally as they exist in the world. So it's just,
how do you know how I get my news?
I just guessed and I was right. Jason Waltington for $20. Thanks so much. I feel like the story is the thermal exhaust port of Trump's Death Star. It's the only thing besides H-1Bs that was really divided his base. So far, I wonder, it really looks like we're gearing up for some kind of fucking invasion or military action in Venezuela. I am curious if that will divide the base. I would have thought no, but there's enough cracks. There's all these other cracks forming that maybe it will. Maybe it won't on the mainstream. I don't know if they'll just go along with it. I think the internet right has spent so much of its has defined itself so oppositionally as being isolationist and anti-war. It might be too difficult. They could try, but it might be too difficult to kind of backtrack that and support some kind of military invasion of another country at this point.
That would be wild.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the conversation for the last couple of weeks has been on Tucker Carlson, not on Trump at all.
It has been, yeah.
Yeah, everyone is like, is Tucker Carlson MAGA?
Right. Well, then now you had the H-1B visa things where Trump was in favor of H-1B visas, and Fuentes and all those people are like, Trump sucks and is horrible and he's going to destroy America, blah, 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 because of H-1B visa stuff.
I'm sure Tucker's saying the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm assuming I didn't hear what he said about the H-1B visas, and we covered the H-1B visa stuff like a while ago. I think when it first kind of came up. Um, I don't remember what my take was basically. I think I don't have a problem with the concept, but when we looked into it, the way it's actually going on now seems highly corrupt. There's like a bunch of companies that are essentially Indian companies, and all they do is just kind of like
Oh yeah, it's a total
hire.
scam.
Yeah, it seems like a total scam. They just get a bunch of like Indians into the country and then hire exclusively Indians. So much so that I'm pretty sure, it's supposedly an American company, though it's obviously not. I don't know how it's not some kind of someone should press charges for a civil rights violation because obviously fucking racist. If you have like your entire company is one ethnic group and then just uses them as basically like you know independent programmers and other things, and so it obviously is being highly corrupted at that purpose.
Yeah, they submit 15 applications for the same dude to get their
Right.
application numbers up.
Right. Yeah, just yeah,
Or
because
to
that's what's weird
better their
too.
chances, because it's some
That's
sort of
what's
lottery to actually give the spots away.
right. Yeah, how insane is that? We're supposed to have some sort of lottery system for H-1B visa workers, and you can put your name in more than once. What the fuck? And
I
I
don't
mean,
think
you
they're
have to.
supposed to. I think they do,
No,
though.
you could. Remember, it was like you could pay for it, like if you pay money or something, or if a business pays money, you could put your name in multiple times. Right? Wasn't that it?
I don't. I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
I think
whatever. It's happening.
these companies go for the spots
Mm-hmm.
by doing a bunch of scammy shit, and then they sell the spots to the
Oh,
actual
after the
employees.
fact?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
interesting. Okay.
So they'll cook up, and I don't know if they have different names on them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, your name's Manjeet now. Like, get on in there."
Right.
Right? I don't.
Right.
How do they do that? Right? They got to just be cooking up resumes.
I don't remember. Yeah, we talked about it on the stream. I don't remember. It's been a while, but go back.
Yeah.
Mr.
So
Supercross for
it's bullshit.
$20 said, "Thank you, Mr. Supercross." Says, having been to White Man, Jesus, where haven't you been? And having looked into the Knob Nooster trailer park, you can't see nothing from those trailers. I did a home visit out there a year ago. It's sketch, but you need a drone to see something. Well, I don't think they're the reason that you'd have you'd be there wasn't because they're like literally looking with binoculars at the Air Force base. I guess it'd just be that you want to have some sort of like equipment that could maybe detect, radio waves or that sort of thing to try to figure out the information. But you could actually see visually, you would see if like planes and shit are leaving and keep that information, record that information. So,
Yeah.
and
Why not?
I would imagine they'd have drones and stuff, so they'd be able to see that. But
You can hack their Wi-Fi password.
either way, totally fucking insane. Obviously, the U.S. government should not allow a foreign country to buy property right next to a military base. They probably don't, which is why China had to use all this series of shell companies to hide what they were doing, because obviously they wouldn't be allowed to do it.
China did it just because it was a good investment. They weren't interested in the.
Oh, of course. Oh, the trailer park. Yeah, they're like, this trailer park in Missouri is really going to pay back in dividends here.
It's got some good value.
Sells Temp for 2 hours says, Adam, I know you hate stereotypes, but hearing Hasan speak makes me think the stereotype of a brain dead Beverly Bozo is rock solid truth.
That's the one stereotype I endorse.
Well, this is why stereotypes are bad, Cells. Hasan has probably spent very little time in California in his whole life. Because remember, he grew up in Turkey until he was like 18. He was born in America and they shipped him back. He spent, I think, 18 or 17 years growing up in Turkey. Then he like went to college in Florida, and then he was doing so poorly, his parents made him go to college in like Connecticut or New Jersey or something, wherever they lived. So I think he's only lived in LA like the last few years of his streaming life.
Terrible. We should deport him from Los Angeles.
100%. Dr. Diller for $3 says, I'm in shock at the news. Absolutely nuts. Can't believe that bridge in China collapsed. Yeah, did you see it? Now, that wasn't I don't think that was that new giant bridge that just opened, but there was some large bridge in China that collapsed pretty spectacularly horribly on camera. That was caught.
Too bad Hasan wasn't live streaming on it. Well,
on the bridge.
He could have been glowing them about their high-speed rail
there you go.
As the bridge collapses, right?
What would the irony of that is? Yes. White monkey communist blower Hasan Piker dies when Chinese bridge collapses with him on it, talking about how great China is.
Perfect.
We need, the AI, all those AI videos of the fat people breaking the Chinese bridges.
I know, those are so great.
The
God, I
Hasan
love
breaking
those.
the bridges. Yeah, exactly. Jason, I read that one. Instant for 24 months says, "Behold my golden triangle, 2 years of S class, being the best class." Well, thank you, Instant for being 2 years a free will seeker.
Wow, it's been like 6 months.
Well, you know what? It's been 6 months. Nomad for 30 months says, and A Team reigns supreme.
Look at that. And then Orca comes in.
There you go. Orca for 26 months says, just moved to Colorado, had to flee the swamp. I get streams 2 hours earlier now. A Team reigns supreme. Look at that.
Yeah, look.
No, it'd been 6 months, so people felt
two for one right there.
Right.
That's usually the way they come in.
Andrew Bear for $5 says, have you watched David Smith on trigonometry? I'm growing to hate Dave. Also, they have an interview with Hamas Pike coming out soon. S class is best class.
That is great that they got Hamas Piker. I can't wait to see that. I listened to, I think, about half of the Dave Smith interview, and I mean, I'm with you, Andrew. I really am.
Mm-hmm.
I
didn't listen to any of it so far. No, is it bad?
Dave Smith just kind of annoys me.
I'm glad he did it because I like to see, they give good pushback.
Yeah, obviously. Well, just he's anti-war, the anti-war position, as if there's no good reason to have a war, which is ridiculous.
I'm kind of surprised that Hasan would even agree to go talk to them because they're going to push him pretty hard on stuff.
Right.
So that is interesting.
Kissin's going to pull out the shock collar. He's going to be like, these prongs.
Oh my God. How amazing would that be? If he
it would be so
at the
good.
End of the interview, he's like,
so
I ordered
good.
this collar from Amazon. It looks like
now here's the shock collar. Now here's the vibrating collar.
Right.
Can you tell the difference between the two of these?
Yes. Moondoggy for $5 says Hasan literally gets profiled but says this is okay. Such a night and day and how he acted in the airport interaction. Very true. Completely true.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how that works? Once Americans are involved or white people are involved, he's like, oh, it's totally awful and terrible that these evil American police would behave in such a way. And then when he's in China, he's like, oh, this is fantastic. I'm glad they're racially profiling me as a white person.
This is an authoritarian regime. Of course.
Yeah.
I've got to bend over and take it.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be great if America was out of the way so that there was no one in the world to stand up to authoritarian regimes?
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. Said Hasan's stream.
Gypsy Harlow for $5 says, I think it's simpler than that. I honestly believe Hasan just hates white people. Of course, not the women he thinks are cute. Yeah, that's what's also obnoxious too, is that he's obviously hyper racist against white people. And yet he's all like, oh, I'm white, everybody. Like he definitely does the I'm white in order to justify being racist against white people maneuver. Jason Waltington, thank you for the 13 months. Says, is Hasan's China simping the bizarro version of Tucker Carlson's Russia simping, or is it the other way around? I think that's the correct way, because I think Hasan has been simping for China longer than Tucker's been simping for Russia. The difference is I'm pretty confident that Tucker is grifting and that he's being paid by someone, maybe not Russia, but he's being paid by somebody in order to do that simping. Hasan, I think, does it for free. I think he just is a horrible piece of shit who hates America.
How big is Tucker's audience? They said 4.5 million in what we just watched for Hasan, but it seems like Tucker's audience is probably much bigger than that. Tucker's audience is probably 20 million.
I don't know. It's a good question. Insensitive for $5 says, if Hasan is the white monkey, then what did that make I Show Speed? Oh, look at you trying to get us in trouble.
How's that? Tell us.
I Show Speed is a black streamer. What did he do in China? I didn't actually watch it because he doesn't do political content, so I don't know if was he like sucking up to them. I assume he was just running around doing like goofy shit. So
if it's a black American, they probably would not hire him But if they did, they would call him a white monkey as well. So
Oh, okay. It's an equal opportunity term.
I think it just means American.
Right. Interesting.
But look, they
Interesting.
are notoriously racist, so they probably wouldn't hire a black American. They believe they want the white American to sell the propaganda to Americans.
Right.
And they would feel a black American would be inferior at selling that propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
So
BNT09 5 for $5 says, why don't you ask the kids in Tiananmen Square what the fashion the reason why they were there? System of a Down. Oh, that was a System of a Down lyric.
they were there because they were being paid to be there by the CCP, I'm sure, to keep an eye on.
Well, I think the lyrics were about the people protesting that died, but I'm assuming System of a Down back in the day.
What was they weren't having a gathering for that though. That wasn't the reason for the festival or whatever it was.
Oh, it was some kind of flag ceremony. I don't know.
Yeah, something to
purpose of it
celebrate
was.
the CCP, right? Celebrate the elites, not.
Yeah.
Hell no. They're not celebrating the people who stood up to power.
No, obviously not. They were not celebrating the protesters that were protesting against the communist government who were killed, yes, and beaten.
That's what they would celebrate in America, obviously.
Right.
Because we always celebrate the underdog. That's what the American ethos is.
Metatron for 2 hours says Hassan's merch was made by Uyghurs in the labor camps. That's the real reason Hasan went there. All right, guys. The real reason Hasan went there was that he needed the tour, the manufacturing center of his capitalism bad t-shirts. Okay. He was looking around, watching all the Uyghurs stitch the clothing, and he's like, oh, this is great. This is wonderful. They're like, save us. Save us. It's like, no. He's like, isn't your last name Uyghur? It's like, shut the fuck up. Kicks him aside. Make my shirts. El Khaleesa for 29 months says, I want Hasan to get arrested in China so bad so him and Trump can have the tarmac photo op when Trump saves him. I need that so bad.
Oh, that would be so good.
Forever. It would forever ruin his career. He just has that picture of Trump with a big smile, shaking his hand.
Trump autographs a picture of the Trump mugshot and gives it to him. Here you go. Right. Here you go, kid.
Yes.
Here's a real.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a real fight the power guy right here.
Right.
Me, Donald Trump.
Lieutenant Sasquatch for $2 says, did Hasan get to tour the re-education camps? They did the thing where like when he would show up, they would like the people would they put all like the fake props in the background like he's in North Korea, just make everything look better.
Yeah.
When is Hasan gonna visit
like
North
a boarding
Korea?
School?
When is he gonna visit North Korea and go on that fucking tour and do their propaganda for him? Is that next? How long?
You make me dream.
We are 1 year away, everybody. We are 1 year away from Hasan Piker doing the North Korea tour. Watch, mark my words. All right?
That would be so good.
Libertarian Sasquatch for $5 says, in Hasan's North Korea video, he says how based it is. The state provides housing to the factory workers, plantation owners provide housing also. Dude is so dumb. God, did he actually fucking say that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
William Vance for 41 months. A discipline equals freedom. Thanks for being 41 months a member. Look at that.
It's great. Look at that.
Says Hasan says, quote, Western cops are way worse. Chinese cops won't arrest you for memes like you think. He says after being detained and searched for a meme, something that has never happened to him here. What the fuck? It's insane.
It's crazy because why did they stop him if they can't arrest you for a meme?
They were going to give him a stern talking to, Adam. All right.
They didn't know that we only share good memes about the Chinese Communist Party.
Right.
We only share loving memes.
Big Daddy Squeezy for 2 hours says, isn't Hasan a Uyghur? Yeah, it's what's insane.
Is he really? You're kidding me. What?
That's Jenk's last name, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yes, so there's got to be some connection there.
Wow.
Totally fucking crazy. Well, listen, he doesn't have any patriotism or loyalty or anything like that.
Yeah, Uyghurs are Muslim Chinese. Yeah. Wow.
Nomad for $5 says, not even saying this with hate, Hasan, then just stay there if you love China so much. I don't understand why you need to leave. I just don't understand why you need to leave to the States. That's a great, if it's so amazing, so wonderful, you just stay there. Get the fuck out. Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the problem. Hasan has to live in America. And the reason he has to live in America is because his entire job, the way in which he makes money, is all based on talking about how much America sucks. And if you don't live in America, people are kind of like, you know, dismissive of you. They're like, oh, whatever, you're not even American. You don't even live in our country. Like, shut the fuck up. So he has to live in America just to hate on it.
Yeah.
That's the reality of the situation.
He's a traitor.
Ace for $10 says, are you going to look into Charlie Kirk's stance on theocracy, or is theocracy moderate to you guys? I doubt Chris Hayes would get the same treatment from you guys if he ended up like Kirk. Well, first of all, I didn't even know that Charlie Kirk had he has a pro theocracy stance. I remember there was so many montages of clips that we saw, I think, regarding Charlie Kirk, and some that we played. And we played what I thought was one of the worst ones about him saying that the Democrats were intentionally importing black Haitians to rape white people. So I don't think it's fair of you to say that we're like being too soft on him. When we talk about that, I think more people would have a problem with that than being pro theocracy. But if he was pro theocracy, obviously I think that's fucking retarded. But I haven't seen that clip or seen that, so
Yeah, I'm against theocracy, obviously. So
feel free to send it to me.
Theocracy, monarchy. I mean, we argue against those things all the time. The idea that Chris Hayes would get Charlie Kirk is just completely ridiculous. Obviously, Chris Hayes is not a giant target for anyone on the right, and the right is not the ones that are going out and murdering people. So,
well, it would be, yeah, I don't. It would be weird. First of all, I don't even know. Chris Hayes is like a weird choice. I don't know. There isn't like a left wing Charlie Kirk equivalent that I can think of that you'd like point to. But yeah, Chris Hayes is a weird choice. Obviously, I would not support Chris Hayes, who's just some retarded MSNBC commentator getting killed or something like that.
no, of course not.
The Wooster for $20. Thank you, Wooster. Says, did you guys see our favorite lolcow academic agent made a 1-hour response video to Dave the Distributist about his center left rebrand? He implied that the right was not anti-Semitic enough and got sick of the term woke right.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I think Wooster actually sent this to me on X.
Yeah, he sent it to me too, but yeah, I didn't have a chance to watch it yet. I wanted to after the stream.
I did notice academic agent said that his numbers were way up on the channel, and I was thinking, well, obviously people are going to be tuning in for the train wreck, but good luck sustaining those views, right? Over time.
That's interesting. That is interesting. He's gonna become left wing now because the right doesn't hate the Jews enough, which it's an interesting take. Seems like there's a lot of hatred for Jews in the far right, so I'm not sure. I buy that explanation, but I'll watch the video. I'm curious.
Is he going to start going to gender reveal parties?
Right. Well, no, he said he's center left. Okay, he's not a far left.
Okay.
Don't get crazy. He's gonna be a moderate lib now.
Who is it on the left that hates the Jews? Is it the people that are having the gender reveal parties, or is it the people who are the moderate?
I think it's the Hassans.
It's the people who are having the gender reveal parties, obviously.
Right.
The Palestinian pro activists. Those are the ones.
There you go. I like this. Albert in the chat says political compass reveal party. That's a new thing. So the gender reveal party.
Oh, that's good.
When the baby's born, they have a little political compass. Oh, look, he's a socialist. Who would have guessed?
They'd all be socialists.
Right. Tree Boy for 17 months. Thanks so much for being 17 months of Free Will Seeker. Tree Boy says literally the definition of a useful idiot. This guy doesn't even realize how little the authorities over there respect his intelligence or lack of it. Oh, yeah. You could listen, when that woman was interviewing Hasan, you could see it in her eyes. She's like, this fucking retard. This white monkey dancing for us here on stage.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure the cops feel that as well. Obviously, they're hugely racist over there. That's why it's hilarious that Hasan is over there simping for them.
Well, it's weird too, because he kind of implied when he was talking about that cop that oh, well, that cop, he called him young and he doesn't know if he's in the police or military. He's kind of implying that that cop wasn't in on the no. like, oh yeah, I talked to the Chinese government and they're cool with me. Like it's down. But this random cop, he didn't know, like he didn't get the message. He didn't get the memo from like the leadership that he was supposed to allow me to do whatever. Which that's not a good thing. I don't know why you think that would be a good thing to advertise. The police shouldn't have to get a memo from the
Not to harass you.
CCP,
Yeah.
right, to not arrest you. That's not great. The Rooster for $5 says, "Imagine simping for the Chinese government so much and pushing its propaganda all the time, only for the Chinese people to like Asmongold more than you." Yeah, that's got crushing.
It's hilarious.
Soul crushing. Yes.
If he fully disrespected the cop, they'd throw his ass in jail. I don't care how much permission he got from the government.
Of course.
The locals run the area. Notice how he was super, super respectful. Super respectful to the police. I think he knew that. I think he knew he'd get fucking black bagged if he spoke up.
PC for 38 months of discipline equals freedom. Thanks so much. Says, rather than tariffs, we should forcibly move Hasan to China. If successful, we can try the same with Tucker and Russia.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Nice.
Did they overturn the tariffs yet? I don't even know.
I don't think so. Is it the court? Wasn't the court hearing it? I don't think they've ruled on anything yet. They just had the oral arguments. Wingin531 for $5 says, "You guys should cover Sargon and Arch. I follow them since Gamergate, and they've gotten pretty radical over the years. S class is the best class. And A team is okay."
Yeah, a bunch of people sent me a video of Sargon talking about Nick Fuentes, and I listened to part of the video, and none of it seemed too crazy. I mean, he's basically explaining why Nick Fuentes is popular. Which he's saying a lot of the same things we always say, that, you know, obviously if you're going to call white males racist for their entire lives, they're probably going to turn to racism.
I only listened to like, I think it was like the first 2 or 3 minutes of it. And he said something that I did find completely insane, and like, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. It seems so wildly dishonest, where he was like, Nick Fuentes is a guy who streams a lot and talks a lot. And so therefore, and he says controversial things to get views. So if you see a clip of him saying something controversial or crazy, it's probably an old clip. And I was like, first of all, even if that's true, who gives a fuck? So if someone's saying all sorts of like insane, fucking horrible shit, you know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, just to generate views, that means that's a person of low moral character. Okay. And number one, I don't know why you dismissed that. And then number two, that's not even fucking true. Half the clips that we watched on Sunday were from 2 years ago,
clips.
1 year ago, this year. There's a lot of these clips are from this year. So I don't know what I had no fucking clue what he was talking about when he said that.
Well, I'm sure he's seen a lot of clips that are older clips.
Yeah, so. But he was framing it like.
Well, no, it is a good point to mention.
Right.
That I'm saying he was saying incendiary shit to get views, that's not necessarily makes you a good person.
There was this weird thing. There was like a time period in like summer where there were some clips that went viral of Fuentes like trying to sort of moderate a little bit. And people like took that as a narrative, like, oh, he's trying to moderate his position. But like after that, he went right back to doing all and saying all the same, you know, white nationalist nonsense he always says. So I don't know like what the fuck he's talking about when he's like, oh, Nick is trying to moderate his position. That's not true. All these clips that he's been saying this year and last year, that is all the same, you know, race realist nonsense that he's been saying forever since he started YouTube, or so he started streaming and doing all this other stuff. So I don't know why he was saying it's like those extendary those clips are only like old clips. It's just completely untrue.
Is Piers Morgan going to have Nick Fuentes on?
He probably will at some point.
Is Nick Fuentes going to go on Piers Morgan? Because you know Piers Morgan is going to show clips of him saying incendiary shit. Piers Morgan is going to do what everyone wanted Tucker Carlson to do.
Yes, I think actually Piers Morgan would be one of the best people to interview Fuentes because he's going to tell him to his face that he's a horrible person, and he's going to play a bunch of clips and make him look bad and force him to answer the question.
Yeah, but that's why I'm not sure Nick Fuentes even goes on Piers Morgan for that reason.
I think he would, because he would perceive it as, it could still help him at the end of the day, and he could still perceive it as helping him at the end of the day. I think he probably would.
Yeah,
if he given
that's a
an
good
opportunity
point.
to. Yeah.
Things look bad to us, but we're not his audience.
Right. You should forget people of changing their positions for the better. From what I've heard, he's moderated his use for the better, less collective BS and more individualism. That's just complete. This is the problem. That's a narrative that a lot of people were saying about Fuentes. It's like a lie. It's a lie that was created because there was some time period a few months ago where he said, here's a couple clips where he was saying like, "Oh, you guys are crazy," and then he immediately went back to just being on race realism and white nationalism and collectivism, like this month, last month, the month before last month. So this is just that narrative that Fuentes is moderated is a complete fabrication. That's not even remotely true. The Wooster for $10 says hilarious that Democrats tried to smear Trump by cherry picking emails and it only ended up blowing up in their faces. LMAO, Michael Wolff was clearly a Democrat op to blackmail Trump, just like the Russia hoax. I don't think Michael Wolff is some kind of op or anything like that. I just think he's
a
really
guy
fucking
who
hates
likes
Trump
young girls to massage him.
And he likes, he likes girls that touch his woohoo, and he likes to ingratiate himself with Epstein and all the other stuff. I mean, I don't think he's being paid by the Democratic Party or anything like that. At least I've never seen anything that
Wooster would say, like all Democrats.
Hint at that, but yeah.
Wooster would be like all Democrats want their massage.
Of course.
From their underage interns. Those interns were legal.
Matoki for $5 says Hasan's reverence for Chinese law enforcement and the police say is so funny, giving his ACAB stance back home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Talk
apparently
about a hypocrite.
So apparently ACAB for Hasan doesn't stand for all cops are bastards. It stands for American cops are bastards. Because if they're Chinese cops, right?
Good point.
You know, if it's the CCP cops, he's suddenly sucking the big CCP dong.
Yeah. Any cop that's hands are tied by some sort of constitution, those are the cops that suck, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the cops that have free reign by an authoritarian regime.
Lieutenant Sasquatch for $2. Lieutenant Sasquatch for $2 says the problem is Virginia's story was ever changing. Yeah, it's unfortunate that she's the most vocal of the victims because I think she's also the most untrustworthy of all the victims because she has said so many different things over the years that it really harms the credibility of a lot of the accusations against Epstein.
Eyewitness testimony is just so flawed. That's why stories change, because people remember things and then forget things and kind of piece it together and then remember things that never happened.
Especially if they've been abused and stuff like that. That's
right.
Ripe for memory distortions. Yeah, I'm not blaming her because she's had a really fucked up life, obviously, but it's just unfortunate. Fortunately, well, not fortunately, but evidentially, there's lots of other witnesses that have come forward and said all the horrible things that Epstein has done. So it's not like everything relies on her testimony.
I'm blaming the human brain.
As you should. Salty Trisket for $5 says, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump actually colluded with Russia.
Really?
Malcolm McKee for 5 Canadian says the emails were already released last year. This version was re-released with redactions, old news, but it gets people to stop talking about the shutdown. I saw people said that. It was weird. It was weird. I saw someone in a community note had said these emails were released last year, but when I clicked on the community note, it was an article from this year. So, but either way, obviously they did redact them for the intention of, I think you're right, getting people to stop talking about the shutdown and kind of reopening the Epstein wound. The shutdown was weird. I don't know if do you have a take on why the Democrats kind of caved, or some of the Democrats, because obviously some were very mad about it. Why did some of the Democrats cave on the shutdown? It seemed
because the election was over and they achieved their goal.
Is it yeah, I don't know.
The shutdown was to drive people in those elections to the polls. So
I think that's right. but it still seemed like they could have really pushed this for more optics win. The polling was showing that Trump was getting more of the blame. Everyone was worried about the SNAP benefits. The healthcare prices were supposed to go up in the coming months. Um, I don't know. It seemed like a weird strategic decision to make. I saw some people saying that they think it was done because the Democrats wanted to save the filibuster because they were really worried that the Republicans were going to completely get rid of the filibuster. I still think they should have held out for that. If that was the only reason, they should have just held out for it. But
Can they get rid of the filibuster mid Congress, or they have to do it at the beginning of the Congress?
that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, the beginning of Congress is coming up soon.
When the beginning of Congress happens is when they set the rules.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't know the answer.
Well,
to that.
it doesn't happen for another year though, right?
No, don't they redo the rules I thought they redo the rules every year, every session.
I thought they did them when the Congress is first gavelled in. 2 years.
Every 2 years?
Yeah. I don't. It's interesting because the filibuster's in the Senate, right? They don't have the filibuster, and so I don't know how they do it in the Senate because they rotate. They serve 6-year terms, but obviously those 6-year terms come up at 2-year intervals. For
they don't.
different
They're all
people.
at the same time,
So,
yeah.
How does that work?
I think every Senate session is 1 year, though.
Okay, it might be because of that.
Right.
They might do that every year then.
Right.
Because when they say like the 250th Congress, that makes sense in the House of Representatives where everybody's up for grabs every 2 years, right? All the representatives are on the line every 2 years. But the Senate, only some of them are coming up, right? Because they have such longer terms.
Okay, so it looks like the way it works is in the Senate, they'll say like we're in the 119th Congress in the Senate, and it's every 2 years. And so they'll say session 1 is like 1 year, and then session 2 is the second year. So it is every 2 years for the session. Or I mean, it's every every session is 1 year, but then they do the number every 2 years. They change the number. It's a different session. So I assume that means they can change the rules every year.
So they when they talk about the Congress, they're talking about the Senate and House of Representatives together.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So as a senator, you could serve in actually 3 different Congresses. You do serve in 3 different Congresses because you're served 6 years. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay.
Sella for $20. Thank you, Sella. Says, do you think Shu's point in her male loser epidemic video that young men are victims of economic circumstances was opposed to the message of Charlie Kirk and Jordan Peterson, who focus on self-improvement and getting married? Well, I didn't actually watch her video yet, so I can't comment on the material of it yet. I don't know if you saw it.
I haven't, no.
Yeah.
Victims of economic circumstance was opposed to the message of Charlie Kirk. Well, I do think a lot of people can be victims of economic circumstances. Just there can be terrible jobs. People can have terrible education. So, I do understand the Charlie Kirk, Jordan Peterson ethos of pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get moving.
Mm-hmm.
But
I would say
obviously some people have a harder challenge than other people. So
of course, yeah.
And I think our economic circumstances are pretty dire right now for young people.
Yeah, I do think the economic circumstances, along with a lot of the cultural circumstances, but I think the economic kind of shapes a lot of the cultural circumstances too, is a huge factor in why a lot of young men are in the situations they are and feel it the way they do about things and are very black-pilled on a lot of stuff. So I do think that that's a huge cause of it. I would never say though that's opposed to any sort of message that Charlie Kirk or Jordan Peterson put about self-improvement, because even if you walk around, your economic circumstances suck and everything sucks, what are you as an individual supposed to do? you do have to self-improve. You do have to go work out. You do have to get outside. You do have to meet people. You do have to get a job. You do have to try and do all those things. You have to strive no matter what. No matter what no matter what. This is why that the idea of like the motto of like pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, or the motto of self-improvement, the motto that you can change things for yourself for the better, is always the better way to live for an individual, no matter what the circumstances are at any time. Because you need to go out there and you do need to strive and you do need to advocate for yourself and you need to work for yourself at the end of the day, no matter what's going on, no matter how good or bad your circumstances are in life.
The economy is changing so quickly, though, with the whole AI situation, that young people today are facing a lot bigger challenge than I ever faced when I was trying to decide what I was going to do for a job. I can't imagine, because obviously I've always been an artist. So I was thinking, well, I'm going to have to do something in illustration or graphic design or something like that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The way AI is developing in art, if I was trying to make a decision on a career now, I'd just be like, what the fuck do I do? Like anything I decide may not be here in 5 years.
Right.
So I that's like a huge thing that nobody I think is really talking about. Even remember the learn to code thing? Learn to code. Well, are the AI is going to do the codes?
Fucking waste.
Now? Look, I think, look, maybe I'll be a truck driver. That's a good, safe job. Oh, wait, they're doing self-driving cars now, right? What do you, look, I'm going to be a paralegal. Well, look, they're not hiring paralegals anymore because all the attorneys are using AIs. Like in 5 years, they're going to have some super smart, look, everyone's joking about these law firms using ChatGPT. That is dumb, obviously, but they're going to cook up an AI that is just legal information. They're going to train an AI that's only trained on legal stuff. So they're going to have an AI that knows all of the cases because it's only been trained on caseload data, and it's not going to make mistakes. So you think that's a good white collar job that's going to get you a nice picket fence and a hot wife and a couple of kids? I'm not sure.
No, I guess
that's a fucking huge challenge for people. Giant challenge.
The question,
I'm going to be a real estate agent. Well, wait a second. People are going to sell their own houses. Already Redfin, you can sell your own. You don't need a real estate agent. What are you going to do, Sitch?
Right. I get the question, I guess, and I don't know if people really know the answer to this yet, is like, is it practical to be like, okay, I'm going to dive into AI modeling to really, try to work with it? Is that going to be able to like transfer those skills into a job? Like, is everyone like the learn the code thing just going to be like, we'll learn to use AI because you still need somebody to manage the AI, somebody to set it up, to wrangle it, to do all those sorts of things. I don't know if it's just all going to be automated and we're all just going to have to use UBI because there are no jobs anymore.
Jay Davis says there aren't jobs in cave painting anymore.
Right.
I think that's a shot at
me. But anyway, the point,
that's pretty hilarious.
I think everything you're saying, I agree with you. And I do think, yes, that people younger than us definitely have a much worse situation in terms of the difficulty of figuring out how to move forward financially or move forward in society. And also, I mean, just fucking the mental space of people that are younger than us that grew up with social media and all this other cell phones and everything, just completely. There's a lot of, I would never in a million years ever say that like, oh, the kids today are spoiled or, blah, 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 blah. Their problems aren't real. I think their problems are real. I think they grew up in a much more difficult time than I ever grew up. That's all true. But you still have to fight. You still have to move forward. You still have to pull yourself up and always push forward. Because if you just give in to nihilism, or you just say, oh, well, it's unfair. My circumstances of my life are unfair. So, I'm giving up. Okay, well, then you just lose. You just give up and you just suck at that point. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That's the only way it is.
Bring up the shoe video.
Well, we're going to watch the whole video right now. But
no, we don't have to watch any of it.
Right. But so even if, I don't know what she said about this topic either, because I said I didn't watch the video. But So even with all the horrible things that are going on, you still have to try to always make things better for yourself. You still have to go out there and work, employ yourself.
You have to look for opportunities. I'm not out there looking for opportunities, so it's impossible for me to kind of assess. But I can assess the climate and think, what would my thought process be right now if I was at the beginning of starting a career?
It would be
I'd
difficult,
be
but
pretty demoralized.
I
I
think
gotta
you
tell
would
you.
have to you'd have to dive deep into figuring out how a lot of AI stuff works so that you can be the one using it and utilizing it for jobs.
We used to get a bunch of fan art on the show and stuff like that, and I often wonder if a lot of the artists have kind of been demoralized by the AI stuff.
There are definitely jobs that you
So it's
should
like,
definitely be hard
why am
to
I
get into.
improving my skills as an artist when
Though I don't know, because I wonder if a lot of it's going to be, you still have people that would make, they still hire people to make pictures and you still need someone to like touch them up and fix them? Or are they just
yeah.
going to be like,
Well, I
no, just
think
get the
they'll get
shitty AI
better.
art?
I think they'll get better and better.
Kristen Brandon for $5 says, I see people on our conservatives calling this a nothing burger. And what about Bill Clinton? The funny part on if you look up, some comments are deleted. Yeah, I mean, it's not a nothing burger in terms of any news about this is bad for Trump and the whole like why is he helping Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell? But it is not a big deal in terms of the fact that Virginia has already cleared him officially or in a deposition, cleared Trump of any wrongdoing. So it definitely seems like it would be a nothing burger in that regard. Vanessa for $10 says off topic, but say someone accidentally sends you $1,900 on Zelle, leaves 20 plus voicemails and texts, broken English, crying and begging for it back. Might it be a scam? What would you do?
Scam. I wouldn't call back.
How does someone? I've never used Zelle honestly, so I don't know enough about
Oh
it.
my god, that's a crazy.
Is that like a thing? Someone sends you a bunch of money and then asks for it back?
Did you get the 1900 on Zelle?
That's what she's saying.
Hmm. Yeah, that is a tough one. That is a
So
tough
it's funny.
one.
I
I
Googled.
would call Zelle. I would definitely call Zelle and talk to them first.
Right.
Maybe can you refund the money on Zelle?
Yeah, but that's what I don't know. Like,
why do you need
how
to
is
talk to him? It's not your money. Just refund it.
she said someone sent it to her today. What is there not like a button to just refund it? Like, how does it work?
They're like, don't send me the money. Go get some gift cards from Best Buy.
So there's a Reddit post about this. Says someone I don't know sent me $2,000 on Zelle as an accident or scam. This is from 5 years ago. Someone I don't know sent me $2,000 and called me about an hour later. They requested on Zelle for the 2,000 to be sent back. I didn't see it until hours later, and I've read that scams like this have happened. Do I let the money sit and let their bank handle it, or do I contact Zelle and my bank and possibly the sender to sort it out? Anyone have any similar experiences? P.S. I don't know if this means anything. It was sent to my savings account. Update, I talked to the bank. They have opened up a claim. Let's see where it goes from there, but it's expected money will be debited within 10 business days and not directly given back to the sender immediately. Some comment said, super common scam. Typical thing is they'll get you to repay them and then charge back the funds and they won't clear. Let the bank handle it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
What does that mean? You repay them and then they charge back the funds?
So maybe you can't refund the money without the bank getting involved. So they get you to send them $1,900. And then they file a refund claim on their $1,900. So they have your $1,900
I gotcha.
and their $1,900.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So don't call them back. Talk to the bank. Let the bank deal with it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good advice. I see. So it's weird. So Zelle doesn't just have like a refund button. So you do have to pay them back specifically.
Yeah.
Because then, yeah, if you're right, if that's the way, then that makes perfect sense. You give them back the money, and then they're like, you only
And then they
take their
file
money
the
back.
claim, and then they've
Right.
got both your money and their money.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, you should
And then you file a claim, and they're like, well, you sent them the money.
right, right. Okay, so I guess, yeah, just contact your bank or something and let them deal with this.
God, I fucking hate these scammers.
Yeah, that's
If
terrible.
I had a big button that would just like give them all cancer, I would click it. I just fucking these scammers. They're the worst.
See, this is the problem. We shouldn't be, listen, forget Venezuela, okay? Trump
Mhm.
should be sending drones into, like, they should find out where these scammers live. And like,
Exactly.
like all this, there's like call centers and these like, networks of where people do all these scams all day. They should just send the drone in there, blow those fucking people up,
Nuke
kill those
'em.
people. Well, I don't know if you should nuke them. I think
Nuke
they're
the whole
probably in the middle
city.
of crowded cities. But I'm not at the nuking point yet. But
Okay.
yeah, you should drone strike them. All right. Send
go
in SEAL
soft
Team
on me,
6 and
Sitch.
just go in there and pop them. Pop, 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 pop. Okay.
Do you small goals for $2? Do you disavow the guy who tried to shoot Fuentes? Yes.
Yeah.
But
yes.
Look, I think he's already dead.
Yeah, didn't he get killed by the police?
Yeah, I think he got killed by the police. So, but fuck that guy. Don't try to go kill anybody.
Right.
Especially that guy who was just doing it for internet fame.
Mm-hmm. I have a fabric printing company. My graphic designer have to rely on AI only because she makes like 100 to 200 designs a week instead of 30 to 50. After 2 years, we are backing a bit from AI. Interesting.
Who's is
I was in the
okay.
chat. There's a YouTuber that finds these. Oh.
Go ahead.
I was just there's a YouTuber finds these Indian call centers and calls them, messes with them. I've seen those. I forget the guy's name.
Those are great. I love those videos.
There's a couple of them. Yeah, those are always fantastic videos.
Fuck these people.
No, scum.
I listen to a podcast, and these poor people are abducted and forced to live in this building that's all scams. It's all scammers. It's like a casino on the first floor, and then all fucking scammers above.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That are basically like slave labor doing these scams and shit. It's like, holy shit, now I got to feel sorry for the scammers too.
Well, that was weird because I saw some documentary on it too. And it was like, it's so funny. That's so horrible. But like the scammers are they're getting scammed as well. Like the one I saw, it wasn't like, they weren't like slaves, but it was, they're basically working for like minimum wage. And whatever money they scam, like they get some tiny amount of it, and their boss like sucks up like 90% of it.
Yeah.
So they're part of some other larger scam. But whatever, fuck those people. They should all get killed. The Oceanist for $5 says, completely off topic, but between the two of you being from California and Florida, Whataburger or In-N-Out?
I've only eaten at Whataburger once, and it didn't really make an impression on me. I'm not a huge In-N-Out fan though, so I don't know. The Shake Shack is probably better than In-N-Out. Five Guys is way overrated. In-N-Out's
oh my God.
way better than Five Guys. Although Five Guys has all the shakes, so.
First of all, I love you, Adam. Everything you said, I agree with completely.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
What is it about Five Guys? Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't fucking know. It's like they put some kind of magic drug that like tricks a specific amount of the population into liking it. It's not good. I do not understand why people like Five Guys. Their burgers are whatever, and their fries are like a greasy mess.
Oh, their fries are not good. Yeah, their shakes. They have a shake selection. I'll give them that. They have like any kind of shake you could ever want.
Okay, right. No, but I agree with 100%. Shake Shack is good.
Shake Shack is great.
Shake Shack is good. Steak and Shake is good. I ate it In-N-Out once. I think is when I came to visit you. It was okay. Yeah. It was fine. It's better than like McDonald's or Burger King and that stuff.
It is, yeah.
But it's not. And it was like pretty cheap too. Well, at least cheap back then. I don't know what the fuck it's like now. But
now it's $40 for a hamburger.
Yeah, everything's so expensive. But the problem is like when I went to eat there, because the hype. I was like, oh my God, In-N-Out Burger, most amazing thing is so incredible. You have to go there. And I'm like, okay, it's just like a like a better than McDonald's burger. That's a fast food. It's not that exciting. So
When,
it's it's fine. It's
when I
fine,
was
I
in
guess.
high school, everyone would get In-N-Out burger stickers
Hmm.
and cut the burger down to say In-N-Out Urge and put the In-N-Out Urge
That's
on
good.
their car. Yeah. Which
Right.
meant I like to fuck. That's what that meant.
I think I actually like Shake Shack burgers. I say Shake Shack burgers are better than In-N-Out in my opinion.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I've actually never eaten at a Whataburger. I don't think they exist. Let me
Really?
see. In Florida. Let me see. Okay, according to Google Maps, they exist in Florida, but only in the Panhandle.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've never eaten at a Whataburger in my life.
I
So
believe
I
I
don't know
ate
what it tastes like.
I believe I ate there when I lived in New Orleans, but that was forever ago and I think it was only one time.
They
So
do have them in that area.
they do,
Looks
yeah,
like.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was in Florida. Maybe it was
Could have been the Panhandle. So
that is Pensacola area. That's what the
yeah,
panhandle
it's
is,
in the
right? Yeah.
Pensacola
Yeah.
area. Yeah, right.
That's the only I've been to the Pensacola. We drove there when we lived in New Orleans just to check it out. Let's go check out Florida.
I've never had Culver's either. I don't know if there's any near me. I've never been to one. Okay, there are some. Oh, there's a bunch. Okay, I've just never been to them. I'll try Culver's. I'm curious. Messy
One of,
Tenant for $5 says Hasan supports a foreign terror and foreign adversary such as China. At what point does this action become treason? I feel he needs to be arrested. Well, I mean, he can say whatever he wants because freedom of speech. That's his right. But goddamn, he should be deported. Deport his fucking ass to China, right?
I mean, if he's committed treason, isn't that usually execution? It's not just deportation.
If he's actually done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's committed, you should try him for treason.
It's
obviously.
treason then. The Oceanist for $5 says a big reason to hate on Dave Smith is he denies China's crimes on the Uyghurs. Absolute scumbag if his Ukraine takes wasn't bad enough.
Really?
Why are all these America bad people? They're all the fucking same. They're just like NPC automatons. They can't just be like, oh, I don't like America, but also like China and Russia sucks. No, they're like, oh, I don't like America and China and Russia are based. I think that came up in our conversation with Dave Smith, where I was like, no, it wasn't with Dave, it was with Kurt, where I was like, how are you fucking defending China when you couldn't even do the job and the things you say in America, you could not live in China and do? And he gave some sort of like very ridiculous defense.
I miss Kurt. We should have Kurt back on again.
Alex Wright for $5 says, are we going to talk about the president actually planning to bribe people with $2,000 checks funded by his illegal and unconstitutional tariffs? It's,
we have, go ahead. You go.
I was going to say it's interesting because I wonder if this is all, well, it's obviously just a ploy to get people to like it, but I wonder also if it's a ploy to get it so that like if the Supreme Court says they're unconstitutional, it'd be like, well, everyone in America, it's your fault. It's the Supreme Court's fault you don't get $2,000. Like it's just some very like cynical ploy.
That's a swift move there. That is a swift move. Because if the Supreme Court takes the blame for you not getting the $2,000 check, oh, that's a good move.
Right.
That's a great move. Everyone's going to hate the Supreme Court. Fuck these guys. So we don't know if they're unconstitutional yet. The Supreme Court, I listened to some of the Supreme Court hearing on it, and it seemed like they were leaning towards it.
Yeah.
Supposedly Trump has some other moves that he can do, but they're not as easy to do. The way it's set up now, he can just say, oh, this is for national security or whatever, and just do it like on the fly. The other ways, there's going to be a lot more paperwork involved. So it's going to make negotiating much more difficult, which is obviously Trump is using them for negotiation. As far as giving people $2,000 checks, I think people are having trouble. I'm in favor of giving $2,000 checks out.
it is interesting that it clashes with the whole like. I mean, I guess no one really cares at this point, but it does clash with a lot of the supposed fiscal conservatism of we're spending too much money, the debt's going out of control. We need to, fund the government. We need to not tax people. Oh, here's $2,000 from the government, by the way.
The
Like, oh,
tariffs
okay.
are shrinking the deficit, though,
Mm-hmm.
which
Of course, it's a tax. Of course, it is.
yeah, which I do think will fight. Well, obviously
It's
there are
not going to
two
fight
forces
inflation,
at
though.
play.
Yeah.
You're shrinking the money supply. Obviously, you will fight inflation to some
Yeah,
extent.
but you're also raising prices, so it's probably gonna. That'd be interesting math to see
You're not.
like
You're
which way it goes, right?
if the importers can eat the tariffs, which is what Trump and Besson are saying is happening, then you aren't going
Mhm.
to get inflation on the products. But if
Right.
they're taking that money from them and then giving it to the American people, you're expanding the money supply, which
Right, but
theoretically
if
could cause inflation,
yeah,
but
but right,
maybe
but
it doesn't.
if it's not hitting the importers, if it's hitting the businesses and they're passing the prices to consumers, then obviously it will increase the
Yeah,
prices.
yeah.
Which it seems like we're starting to get to that point where that's happening, or at least a lot of the economic signals are pointing in that direction.
It's interesting that a lot of people in Comicsgate have come to the realization that all of these giant crowdfunding campaigns they were running had to do with the stimulus checks, the pandemic stimulus checks. Because when people get, 12, what were the checks? Like $1,200?
Mm-hmm.
Seems like there was a few of them. And they didn't earn it. They just spent it on whatever frivolous shit, right?
Right.
Which definitely makes the argument that all of that stimulus money went into the pockets of people who were selling goods and services, right? So sooner,
Right.
all that money went through the hands of people without money and ended up in the pockets of people with money because they're the business owners.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
but
what do you
then
think
if
is going to
but
happen with these stimulus checks?
well, that's what's kind of funny too, is then if this does go through, they turn around and they just give everyone another $2,000
It's like a
check. I mean,
subsidy of McDonald's.
right, but I mean, it's just going to be like another big like bump in price inflation. Everyone, well, I guess not everyone. They were saying people under 100 grand, I think, but that's still a huge chunk of the country just gets like a free $200,000 check, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
definitely going to pop up the price and everything again. So it's kind of silly. It's a silly maneuver. It's obvious what's trying to go on there, but
Trump, it's interesting to me that Trump is shrinking the deficit, which everyone claims they want to do, but then he's like, "Nah, I'm going to turn around and give the money." So I'm not really going to shrink the deficit at all.
because it's obviously it's not like a plan. There's not some sort of ideological plan at play. It's just trying to appeal to the voting base at whatever cost.
Right.
Seller for $10 says, I'm pretty sure the Senate can abolish the filibuster anytime they want because of the nuclear option. It's just a reinterpretation of their rules rather than changing the rules, which would require 2/3 vote. Well, there you go. Anytime, baby.
Well, I've read that the party in power sets the administrative rules at the beginning of the session.
Mhm.
So that made me think, okay, well, they don't change once they set those in place. They can't just change them in the middle of the
Right.
session.
Yeah, but if they're just, can they but he's saying that they just reinterpret the rules.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Maybe you can do that whenever, right? I don't know how that would work, but
Well, they could just say, hey, we're going to make you do the filibuster. And as soon as they say, okay, well, if you're going to make us do it, then fuck, the filibuster's dead.
well, I guess when the Democrats changed the filibuster in the past, I don't know, did they have to wait till the new session, or they just
Have they
did it?
done that? Have they gotten rid of the filibuster?
Well, no, they did they weakened it so it only, because it used to, I think, apply to everything, and then they weakened it so it only could apply to specific types of
Really?
legislation.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Because
Because
they're phasing it out.
they kind of, because I remember the Republicans would always say like, well, if we get rid of it, it's the Democrats' fault because they're the first ones to weaken it. It says the nuclear option was invoked on November 21st, 2013, when Democrat majority led by Harry Reid used the procedure to reduce the cloture threshold for nominations, other than nominations to the Supreme Court, to a simple majority. On April 6, 2017, the nuclear option was once again used, this time by a Republican majority led by Mitch McConnell, to extend the precedent to Supreme Court nominations in order to enable the cloture don't know if I'm saying that word right. To be invoked on the nomination of Neil Gorsuch
Cloiture.
To a simple majority. So there you go. So it looks like they just used it whenever. Interesting. So I guess I thought they did it for more than just nominations, but maybe I was mistaken. So they can just probably do it whenever. Small Goals for $5 says, why do Mark Levin and Randy Fine discourage anyone to care about the massive civilian death toll in Gaza? They seem to celebrate it even. Well, I think it'd be, fairly obvious. It's Mark Levin and Randy Fine are huge, massive pro-Israel simps, and having massive civilian death tolls in Gaza makes people say, maybe we maybe we don't like what Israel's doing. And so they want to downplay that or discourage that, obviously. So
yeah.
Anyways.
People don't like death and destruction.
That's true. The average person says killing innocent people, killing civilians, bad.
Unless it's a Predator movie. Then I'm totally in favor of it. More death and destruction.
Or no, unless it's Chainsaw Man. You're like, look, you're watching all these Japanese people get wiped out.
That was you. I loved it. I was like, stack the bodies higher.
That's what I'm saying. You're watching all the innocent people, all the innocent cartoon, two-dimensional, fictional Japanese civilians get wiped out by a devil. And you're just like, I love it.
Loving it. Love.
That scene.
More death, more destruction.
That scene when in Independence Day, when like the alien laser like blows up the city, blows up the White House, blows up the city, all the people are dying. Adam was like, yes.
Hell yeah. Back in the 90s, we didn't give a fuck about that shit.
That's true. That is true. Back, I didn't care
these
for
weak
that
soy
either.
Boys now.
I know. I'm old and
someone
soy
grew
now.
up. They're like, I care. That could be my kid.
I care that innocent people are dying.
All right. Great live stream. This was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for your generous super chats. And we will see you all on Sunday, right?
Sunday.
Take care.